Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of the Sunday Wire. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. We're streaming out live at 21stcenturywire.com, also on X, YouTube, Rumble, BitChute Live, as well as the other audio streams. iTunes will be on after the show as usual, and Facebook Live as well. We're streaming out there today, right now. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 570 of this weekly omnibus news and analysis radio program. And we are going to have an important conversation today. It's really a sequel to what we were talking about last week, which was the collapse of MAGA. And it's important to understand how this is happening. But more than that, it's important to understand why. And what we're going to go through in terms of evidence, material. We'll also have an open discussion about this in the Overdrive segment with our teammates, as well as bring in and feature some of the top comments coming in on our listener streams, which is going to be hundreds of comments. We'll be sifting through live in real time and showing you some of the better takes out there from our audiences, as particularly those on Rumble and YouTube, as well as other platforms too. But it's important to understand why. Has MAGA collapsed? Why has confidence in Donald Trump collapsed, especially among independents? And obviously, this isn't my opinion. We're going by the polls in this case. So we're going to talk about that during this first segment. But we're also going to sort of open up the discussion as well in the second half of the program, possibly on some other things. I mean, we a lot of people have covered the peace deal, supposed peace deal anyway, the one that the Trump administration put on the table. It has not been fully agreed on by Russia. Obviously, there's going to be negotiations, nor has Ukraine agreed on the terms. But the pressure is certainly on Kiev, that's for sure. And there are things in this Trump peace plan that are encouraging. It's good to see some of these things put on paper, but yet it's not done officially yet. Europe has completely rejected it. Zelensky has come out against it, but then has also put out a weird statement publicly about how the Ukrainians might need to bend or be flexible in order to survive as a country and so forth. His inner circle is fleeing the country because of corruption charges. The walls are closing in on the regime in Kiev, as well as the narrative that the Europeans and other people in the West, the Russia-phobic mob, have been promulgating for the last 4 years, and really beyond that since 2014 intensely. So we may cover that later in the week. Obviously, a lot of people are talking about that, but we're going to circle back to the MAGA discussion because it's important, and also because I don't think people have given it a comprehensive treatment. We will do in this segment. But before that, I want to draw this to people's attention. Other story, but we're going to give it a mention here in this first segment. And that is about what's going on in the UK regarding the prescription of Palestine Action, a grassroots activist organization. And sadly, this happened outside the prison during a Palestinian solidarity demonstration for the people being held by the British government for protesting the genocide. A journalist has been killed or has died. We don't know the details of this yet, but the evidence so far is disturbing. And here's the gentleman. This is details of this on Minpress News. Obviously, this is from their Facebook page. David Lear passed away after collapsing outside HMP Pentonville prison on Saturday, the 15th of November. Incident occurred minutes after an alleged violent altercation involving an Israeli or pro-Israel counter-protester, quote unquote, during this demonstration. So he is a well-known community journalist documenting the protest, and he died. Allegedly or supposedly from a heart attack following a violent altercation with a pro-Israeli, quote, counter-demonstrator. David Lear is his name. Very sad indeed. And as Basil Valentine made the point on Friday when he appeared at UK Column News, if this had been an Israeli or a Jewish counter-protester or something like that, this would have made national news. It actually probably would have across America, here as well. People have been going absolutely insane over this if that was the case. But as it goes, it was just somebody supporting Palestine. So it didn't even raise to the level of mainstream media coverage. So that kind of tells you all you need to know about the current situation politically. We also want to draw people's attention to the Sunday screening, which is up at 21stcenturywire.com right now. And the Sunday screening, again, the documentary films that we feature every week. We usually curate one or editorial team at 21st Century Wire. This one is Inside Israel's War, Breaking Ranks. This is our Sunday screening feature documentary this week. So I want to tell people to possibly, if you have time, this is definitely a good independent documentary film that that we're featuring, along with many others. If you look back at the Sunday screening archive, you'll see great films week after week. So if you want a good curated list of topical documentaries, Sunday screening, do follow it if you're able to. It's something that we do for our audience. I think that is quite unique. But yeah, we want to draw people's attention to that as well. So that's where things are at generally, folks, on those important issues. Now let's get to the task at hand. Let's talk about the topic at hand, which is this. And again, this is the theme of the show. Why has he wrecked the MAGA movement? Now, some people will say, well, he hasn't wrecked the MAGA movement. It's just divided over certain contentious issues. And therefore, it's not Trump's fault. It's just politics and so forth. I disagree. I think this is not only is it intentional, but it really exposes Donald Trump as somebody who really doesn't have any political beliefs, zero ideology, and definitely doesn't care about his base. Because if he did, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing here. And, if you look at in this image here, you've got behind Donald Trump with the stupid red hat is Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie. Okay. Thomas Massie particularly is a standout congressman from Kentucky, and Trump has attacked him. Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Trump loyalist from the beginning. She'd go to New York to defend him outside the courts where he was a victim of lawfare. She is an absolute core foundational MAGA representative for the MAGA movement, Make America Great Again. And Donald Trump has not only turned on these, he's encouraged the primarying of these two independent, well, they're Republicans, but independent-minded Congress people, representatives. And it's very telling. This really shows you who Donald Trump is. He's not loyal to any party. He's certainly not loyal to any ideology. He's only loyal to himself, power, and his real priority, of course, is the state of Israel. This is Donald Trump's number one priority. Israel first, America second, and the American people, well, that's just an afterthought, really, if you think about it. So that's really important when we look at this, to understand that this is really undermining so many things. One of the main things Donald Trump undermines is conservatism. Donald Trump is not a conservative. He's never been a conservative his whole career. He has, before 2016, he bankrolled the Democratic Party. He bankrolled Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump. So this is a lifelong Democrat, like Elon Musk. He just did a superficial change, masquerading as a conservative in order to get himself into power. Okay. Nothing conservative about him. He is a rabid neoliberal, but like many rabid neoliberals, you can put a cigarette paper between them and neoconservatives. And this Trump administration has been one of the most neoconservative ever. Okay. So very important that we just highlight this important point. Now, what we're going to show you next is a video message from Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay. And we showed last week the tweets by Trump trashing Thomas Massie, which were disgusting. I mean, it's really brings the office of the presidency down to such a low level that people would be saying these sort of things publicly, but then posting them on their official presidential account is really something incredible. But yet this has become common for this president. He doesn't seem to have any control over what he posts. Maybe he's not posting it, but he's certainly not protesting against his account being used to push some of these things, but really just defaming and defiling good people. Good people who are working for the American people, unlike this president, is not working for the interest of the American people. He's working for the interest specifically of a billionaire class. I didn't want to believe that at first, and it didn't seem apparent, but now it's pretty damn obvious. And those are billionaire Democrats as well as Republicans. You should notice that. That's why there's a lack of pushback from the so-called left about what this president is actually doing. So here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're going to bring her on screen. She posted this. I can only describe it as a hostage video. I mean, how else can you describe this? Anyway, she said what she said. This is her resignation video. Believe it or not, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the biggest iconoclast in Congress practically, is quitting. I personally have my opinions of how this, we'll skip through this video, but here's the beginning and then we'll play the end.
Hi, everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher, corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts, American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest, and the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies, because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe borders, I have fought hard for that. I've fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars.
Okay, so that's her record, and it's all true. She is the real deal, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's fast forward to the end. This is the important part of the statement here, the last 2 minutes. Just buffering on X.
Hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits and do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or an assisted living facility. My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable for the promises it makes to the American people and put America first. And I have fought against Democrats' damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open, deadly, unsafe border policies, and the trans agenda on children and against women. With that has brought years of nonstop, never-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a single day. It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me, but especially to my family, but it's been wrong to my district as well. I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much, And I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never, ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. There is no plan to save the world or a 4D chess game being played. When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026, and I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
There it is, folks. I mean, you got to understand the gravity of what you just heard there. Okay. Very, very important point on the American political timeline. Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is being attacked, primaried by the president that she put it all on the line to support when nobody else would. Okay. That doesn't tell you as much about Marjorie Taylor Greene as it does about Donald Trump. You see, Donald Trump doesn't respect loyalty, clearly. he doesn't respect those who are loyal to him, but like a petulant child, he translates anybody who's calling for accountability or who opposes his slavish support for the genocidal colonial settler project known as Israel. And she opposes the fact that this president, Trump, allowed himself to be purchased by a foreign lobby and Mary Madelson and the rest of them. She opposes that. And for that, he's accusing her of being disloyal. So the loyalty Donald Trump is talking about is like loyalty to the mob, to the mafia. Donald Trump clearly fancies himself as a mob boss. You see, that's the problem. So he's throwing her under the bus. And he, not only that, not just throwing her under the bus, running her over and then reversing over her. Okay, that's Trump, basically, that guy. So that's what's going on. So he's wrecking, Donald Trump is wrecking the MAGA movement. And he's taking his cues from some of the wealthiest people, not only in America, but also in the world. And it's quite astonishing, really. And, you know, we'll talk about the ins and outs of this, but let's just start with Exhibit A. Okay, because it's important that people understand the progression of events here. Bring this back. So this is what Donald Trump says about his biggest ally, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Trader Brown. So he won't even call her by her sort of legal name. He's calling her Marjorie Brown. Maybe that's her maiden name or something like that. I have no idea. But because of plummeting poll numbers and not wanting to face a primary challenger with a strong Trump endorsement where she would have no chance of winning, ! I mean, it's totally unhinged. So he's sticking the knife in Thomas Massey and Rand Paul. Okay. So these are three politicians with integrity that are independently minded and that are not bought and paid for. And Donald Trump's attacking them. Why? Well, for two out of three of those vociferously oppose what Israel is doing to the Palestinian people and the money that Israel is siphoning out of America and the amount of money Israel is using to bribe American politicians. So it's pretty clear Donald Trump works for Israel. So who's the traitor here? Who's the traitor? Which one of these out of those Congress people, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, and then Donald Trump, out of those four individuals, which one basically attacked the First Amendment in this year by attacking college students legally and rightfully protesting their universities' financial ties to the genocidal state of Israel? Convicted war criminal Prime Minister and Defense Minister Netanyahu, Yoav Gallant, well, soon to be convicted, but indicted in the ICC. Israel has been by the United Nations and all but finalized by the ICJs guilty of genocide in Gaza. Okay. So Donald Trump's defending that and attacking the First Amendment. Well, when the president, I have to remind people every time because everyone likes to forget, the president swears to protect and defend the U.S. Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Well, this president is an enemy of the U.S. Constitution. So who's the traitor? That's if he's going to be accusing elected representatives of being traitors, well, what is Donald Trump? If everyone else is a traitor, somebody who's trashing the First Amendment as a president on behalf of a foreign government, Israel, that's very shaky grounds for Donald Trump to be calling anybody a traitor. It's disgusting, but it's not the worst. And here he is topping even that. This is what led up to it. This is Trump. I am withdrawing my support and endorsement for, quote, Congresswoman, in quotes. I mean, just insulting. Marjorie Taylor Greene, state of Georgia. Despite my creating record achievements for our country, including total and complete victory on the shutdown, closed borders, low taxes, men and women sports, transgender, DEI, who cares? Culture war issues, this is so stupid, okay? It's so weak of anybody who's still, any conservatives or Republicans still harping on the culture war issues, while World War III is like, breathing down the neck of the country and the world. You guys are still talking about trans. I mean, this is like, let Ben Shapiro fight the culture wars. Let all the high-pitched, squeaky, annoying voices fight the culture wars, okay? Let all these sort of Daily Wire type people go fight go and let them have a boxing match with a trans person or something like that. Hire a ring, fight it out. Ben and Matt Walsh, you guys can fight it out. The big ticket issues are Israel, Iran, and Ukraine. Okay. Obviously, see, Donald Trump doesn't want to address any of these because he's completely on the wrong side of all those issues, of course, policy-wise, and goes against all his Make America Great election pledges. Here he is. I stopped 8 wars. What a load of BS. Okay. Rebuilding America's military. How are you rebuilding America's military? Like, what have you done? You guys are still flying F-14s and F-17s and still dumping fighters off aircraft carriers into the Red Sea. Thank you, Pete Hegseth. Okay. You're bombing third world countries that don't have any real organized military. Okay. And you are doing sneak attacks during peace negotiations like you did against Russia and against Iran. Okay. So, yeah, you're doing really good. Oh, stopping 8 wars. You've started 3. Donald Trump did not stop all the wars he's claiming credit for. And 3 of the wars that he said he stopped have continued fighting, including the ones that he's directly involved in. So it's all BS, okay? Anyway, it goes on and on and on. Look at this long-winded tweet. I mean, is a high school person, is some petulant high school child managing Donald Trump's Twitter account? Is that Don Jr.? Is that Dan Scavino? Who runs this account? Honestly, who is typing all this garbage and signing the president on it? Is it Trump? I don't think so, because I'm reticent to believe that Donald Trump is probably the most illiterate U.S. president in history. He hasn't read a book probably in 30 years, except maybe his own Art of the Deal. Did he write that? Was that ghost written? I don't know. He probably read that one. Maybe not. Could Donald Trump, does he have the attention span to sit down and write a tweet that long? I doubt it. Seriously, I doubt it. I'm not just ripping on Trump, folks. This is a president publishing stuff like this, attacking his allies. I mean, it's beyond cringeworthy at this point. So anyway, did the same to Thomas Massie and putting like vile expletives. And this is like par for the course. And accusing people of low IQ, Republican hating anchors. This president is low IQ. His administration, all his cabinet are low IQ. They're all appointed by the Israelis, by Miriam and Howard and Jared. Okay, that's who gave you Trump's cabinet. So anyway, we move on. So why has MAGA split? Okay, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene just recently. Epstein battle has ripped MAGA apart, says Marjorie Taylor Greene. So the Epstein issue, Trump's cover-up of A, his relationship with Jeff Epstein, and B, trying to basically recast an issue that he campaigned on. You know, I'm going to deliver transparency. We're going to release all the Epstein files. That was one of this President Trump's campaign promises. Then he turns around and says, now it's a Democratic hoax. It's a hoax created by the Democratic Party. So first you want to expose it because Biden's covering it up, and now it's a Democratic hoax. Okay, one of those two things are not true. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, was calling for a release of the files, and that's when Trump started attacking her. And that's when Trump started also attacking Massie. Okay, Trump's in the Epstein files. To what degree and what's unredacted, we will never know. But he's in there. So obviously he wants to cover it up. His associates are in there. And Epstein's links to Israel and Israeli intelligence are in there. That's why it's being covered up. Simple. So that's issue 1. Issue 2, look at this. And we find out the MAGA world was on the side of Israel. Now it's split over Gaza. So Trump couldn't maintain a consensus within MAGA over the U.S. and their sort of, mindless, slave-like support for Netanyahu and Israel. And America's a co-belligerent. They're supplying all the weapons and bombs for the mass murder of Palestinians. Of course, nobody wants to take accountability for that. Donald Trump could have taken accountability for that and then blamed it on Biden and finished it and stopped Israel. But no, because Trump is bought and paid for by the Israeli lobby, he couldn't do that. He had to take the side of Israel, and rather than change the course of history, he took it down a darker path. Okay, that's what Trump has done. Sad but true, and that split MAGA. And that's probably something he in his infinite wisdom couldn't have foreseen, because he lives in such a bubble. He thinks that everybody loves Israel like as much as he does. And so here are the two principal actors in over this issue in the split. Here's one recently, Tucker Carlson. There's others too. And below that, Nick Fuentes. Okay, recently, these two become the main target of the Israeli cancellation machine because they're raising questions about America's support for Israel and the amount of control Israel has over the U.S. government and specifically this president. And yes, that's split the MAGA movement. Okay, MAGA being Make America Great Again and so forth. America First, Republicans, 2024 election, just put all that together and bake it into a big roll. That's MAGA for the moment, but not anymore. So there's two issues. And of course, Charlie Kirk fell victim to both of these issues. And so he began to pivot and moderate his position, and he ends up getting whacked. And everyone's saying, well, Israel had nothing to do with that. That was because of disgruntled trans, or maybe someone sharing a flat with a trans person in Utah, or some stupid story that nobody can actually corroborate. So what's going on? Which one of these is true? Well, I think you can figure that out if you have half a brain cell. So last-ditch effort to block Trump's Venezuela war appeals to MAGA Republicans. Here's the other issue, Venezuela. With a war powers vote looming in the Senate, advocates are pointing to Trump's past opposition to regime change wars, but they're not getting that. They're not. Instead, with this president, they're getting something else. You can see little narco Marco in the background there. What Trump's little sort of sidekick who rubber stamps everything. Trump's allowing Marco to sort of kind of run point on South America. Marco Rubio, another sort of Trotskyite, cross-dressing as a conservative. So many of these. But anyway, here we go. There's a battle for MAGA's soul, and Venezuela is in the middle of it. So this continues to fracture the MAGA movement. Continues. So it's just going from bad to worse. And then we learn that one of the main principles for the U.S. attacking Venezuela is because Venezuela, and again, just remember who put Marco Rubio into the Secretary of State position. Israel. Mary Madelson. They first wanted Mike Pompeo. That was too much for Trump. And the other person they wanted in that position, I forgot who it was somebody insane. And then Trump came up with Rubio on their sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 short list. And we get little Marco. Little Marco's whole career is Israeli donors. Okay, from Paul Singer and the rest. Israeli billionaires have made Marco Rubio. So Venezuela happens to be the first country in Latin America to recognize a Palestinian state and to make Palestine their chief foreign policy issue. You think that's a coincidence that now Trump is going after Venezuela so hard in his first term as well, but even harder now, positioning U.S. military assets off the coast of Venezuela for an unprovoked war of aggression? Coincidence? No, I don't think so. So that's that issue. And again, what's this say? Oh, Maria Corina Machado. This is not regime change, she tells Americans. So she's so desperate. This was the Nobel Peace Prize winner. The CIA selected the Nobel Prize winner this year, which I thought was wonderful for the CIA. Anyway, they chose Maria Corina Machado as the Nobel Peace Prize winner. So congratulations, Maria, for winning that CIA handpicked award this year as they control the Nobel Committee, which is so wonderful for world peace. But anyway, she's desperate now. She's running op-eds in the Washington Post written by the CIA. They're saying this is not a regime change effort. So she is cheerleading for the toppling of Maduro. She's cheerleading for U.S. military forces gathering off the coast of Venezuela, ready to attack it and steal their oil, but it's not a regime change war, she claims. I mean, this is just the farce of this is so beyond. It boggles the imagination. And so what does this all translate to? And again, we always try to put some meat on the bones on this show because that's what we do. The other shows don't, but we're really going to fortify this one here. What does this mean? Trump has just lost 39 points among independent voters in just 9 months. No one has ever seen anything like it, and no one will ever again. Look at that. So this is aggregate polling. This was on CNN, but they're quoting aggregate polling. January last year, net approval -4 points among independents. Now -43, 10x. A 10x, tenfold drop in independent voters. You can't win the midterms, the coming midterms in 2026. The Republicans will not hold the House or the Senate with those numbers. Not only that, this translates into low turnout as well. It's another sort of ancillary effect of these sort of numbers. I mean, it's not me saying this. Go to the People's Pundit on X, another honest poller. There's a few out there, but that's what you're looking at, folks. Okay. So everything I'm showing you here is just symptomatic of that. So those are the receipts. Those are the receipts. So it just keeps getting worse and worse. And here's another one. Here's another one. The surprise issue driving a wedge between Trump and his MAGA base. What's that? Oh, here it is. This is the man of the people, Donald Trump, the working man's president, the Make America Great, the conservative, right? The heir apparent to Ronald Reagan. You must be kidding me. San Francisco, Washington Post, President Trump faces an unexpected rift in the MAGA movement. Another one. As Republican officials from state houses to the Capitol Hill warn his full-throated embrace of the tech industry's artificial intelligence boom risks undermining America's economic security and exposing children to new harms, etc. What he's talking about is Donald Trump is now attempting to block states from regulating AI. Okay? Think about that for a moment. So who is making him do that? Larry Ellison, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and the other Israeli operatives that are embedded in the AI US tech industry. Okay. And I want to say non-Israeli. I mean, Elon is not Israeli, but he's totally under the thumb of Israel, as was evidenced by him being dragged by the ear to Israel for the October 7th propaganda tour and the photo op with Netanyahu himself. Okay. So Musk is pretty much under control of that narrative, but the rest is Larry Ellison, Sam Altman, and all the other billionaires, and Peter Thiel. Okay. These guys run Trump. So instead of taking the more states' rights approach, the thing that makes America a great country, Donald Trump sides with the transnational corporate oligarchs and Bilderberg, because read Bilderberg there. That's what you're seeing. Yes, that's what that. And how do we know this? Because this has been at the top of Bilderberg's agenda the last 12 years. Just saying, folks. If you pay attention to the stuff, you'll see. So these are just a handful, but they're important ones of the MAGA disintegration. And so Trump isn't just doing this haphazardly. This is all intentional and it's all systematic. Donald Trump is not who you thought he was. This is something, unfortunately, many of us have come to understand. Wish it wasn't true, but it is. So, and now to show the really retarded side of MAGA, I hate to break this to you guys, but this is painful. So the next MAGA divide is China. So, but this is where Trump hopes to regain, because of these poll numbers, Trump hopes to regain MAGA by beating the war drums against China. And why is that? Because on the issue of China, MAGA are retarded, generally. So look at this. Even as Trump makes overtures to Beijing, trying to do a trade deal with China, most of the MAGA voters continue to view China as a moderate to severe threat, 83%, afraid of China for some reason. And many agree that it intends to destroy the U.S. China intends to destroy the U.S., 29%, a third of all MAGA, and replace it with a new world order, a Chinese world order, 33%. So unfortunately, low IQ MAGA are still like obsessed with China. It's sad, but anyway, so just when you thought there was hope, you have some of these weird things baked into the brains of American Republicans, many of them, and the MAGA movement. It's almost like, we can't, there has to be somebody. It's almost like Americans are genetically genetically disposed to having to have at least one country that's an existential boogeyman at all times. It's like a requirement, predisposed. I wish this stuff wasn't true, but I'm just reporting facts here. It's painful for me too. Trust me. I don't like doing this. I'd rather be covering something else, but we had to lay this out because people need to understand what's going on. You're being completely manipulated, okay? And we have been for a very long time. And this president, if you want us to get into economic policies, please don't make me go there. The tariff wars are a joke, okay? An epic failure, and they're engaged in such propaganda right now, trying to Breitbart and everybody else trying to paint the U.S. economy as being the greatest ever in history, the current U.S. economy. I don't know what to say. I really don't. It's, it clearly is a contraction in consumer confidence, there'll be an overall GDP contraction. Let's forget about the fake Wall Street stock market that's constantly being pumped up by fake liquidity. Okay, the real economy is contracting, and part of it is just because of the indecisiveness and the unpredictability that people are looking at with the United States attacking, sanctioning, and starting tariff wars with everybody on the planet. Okay, and the U.S. thinks that's going to somehow bring jobs back to America. They're not coming. It's over. Trump is not going to bring any more manufacturing jobs to America. If he does, he's going to have to subsidize them. Meanwhile, the Rust Belt, farmers are going broke. Okay. And Trump wants to bail out Argentina, his buddy Milei, the crypto scammer in Buenos Aires, who, by the way, the U.S. is not. Trump intervened. I mean, last thing I'll mention because it's hilarious. Trump intervened in the last Argentinian election to save Milei by threatening to withhold a U.S. bailout of the Argentinian currency, second round, worth $20 billion, if they don't vote for Milei, or his party anyway, in the last round of elections, just this last month. And it worked. People got scared. The U.S. money wasn't going to come in. They voted for Milei's party. And then now Trump's reversing it, saying, no, we're not going to send that bailout. So Milei's supporters must be feeling like mugs. Of course, you're dealing with Trump. So it's not written down. Even if it's written down, it's not going to get honored. And so do you think this peace deal in Ukraine is going to be like nailed down? Think he's been able to see it through? I'm not sure. The way this president is running the business of government is quite extraordinary. So no one's ever seen anything like it before. Anyway, that's all we're going to show you for the moment. That's all for this segment. Let's take a break. At the Sunday Wire, I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. It's great to have you with us. We'll be visiting some of the comments in the Overdrive segment. Also, some of our teammates are going to join us as well. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. We'll see you in just a few minutes. So stay right there. We'll be back.
All of the pictures left unpainted, all of the games they left unplayed, all the laughter in the playground, all of the arts they never made. Ghost faces of a million Palestinian children. All of those voices left in silence, all with their names written in kind. lifeless empty dolls to find those faces of a million Palestinian children. What of the songs they've never written? What of the words they'll never sing? And the darkness of the nightmare inescapable that brings the ghost faces of a million Palestinian children. I hear the crying helpless children, God's most precious and most dear. I hear them begging for the reason. How could you ever leave us here? I close the eyelids of a million Palestinian children. So what do we really stand for? Is this how our future's made? And when we ever find the courage to stand up unafraid, I tear away the persecution of the Palestinian children. Rise up and be the guardians of the Palestinian children. To respect our obligation, every creed and every nation, 'cause every soul deserves protection. Save the Palestinian children. Save the Palestinian children.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me the profound honor of addressing this great citadel of democracy for the fourth time.
And thanks for bombs that wreck Gaza one more time. For helping me pin it on Iran, that's the crime. Let me spin you a tale, talk you in its bedtime.
Our world is in upheaval.
We brand our foes as evil, it's our goal to spell. Labels ready-made, we wield them well. Terrorists, anti-Semites, animals all on sale. Every option laid out, no detail is too frail. Let me share my plan, it's all about me. Survival's the goal, friends, just let me be. Uncle Sam sends dollars, bombs, arms, endlessly. Through twisted lenses, he pretends to see clearly. I could quote the Bible, but that's just for show. It's occupation versus civilization, as you know. Accusations by confession, the truth's on a low. Decades of incarceration, yet you clap for the show.
We win, they lose.
I can't breathe anymore, this noose is too tight. Just not as I blame in the dead of the night. We're criminals in truth, but that's our plight. Gentlemen in the headlines, painted in white.
Suddenly, heaven turned into hell.
We raised the homes, gave the order to shell. Bomb schools, mosque, hotels, there's more to tell. Not just that, hospitals fell as well. Thank you, madams and sirs, for funding this hell.
I thank President Biden for his heartfelt support for Israel.
Think this ain't real, it's all colonial play. Joe helps me claim defense in the broad daylight. Good man he is, though his words sway, supporting me, even when his talk's not right. They're killed with rage, Arab women, kids in their prime. Gaza's an open-air cage, living on borrowed time. More deaths on the way, they've sworn the crime. So we pin badges of courage in this bloody rhyme. What God's green earth am I ranting about? I'll take you on a ride, no doubt. But can't lie about genocide, that's out. Humanity's priceless, funds are what it's about. They call it occupation, a regime of hate. A racist dream built on a bloodthirsty state. Causing death, grief and pain at every gate. Yet I stand here and you still wait. And what I'm doing, I stand up in disguise, playing the victim, that's my but ouch, they're burning me in effigy skies.
And I want to say thank you, America.
I love you and your hamburgers, that's no bluff. My soldiers loved you as pampers, just enough. No more Octobers, but we had our stuff. And we were the symbol of heroic grace. Not apartheid or racist to any place. Butter wouldn't melt in my mouth, no trace. From north to south, where the embrace face.
They call Israel a colonialist state.
I think I'm kidding, grab the Times, take a read. Ask the White House, they're trying to lead, but they need more training to follow my creed.
That Iran is funding and promoting anti-Israel protests in America. They want to disrupt America.
Speak of Iran, my arms go weak, my mouth goes sour. Let's find a new land to devour. Their might threatens our tower, hour by hour. Victory's near, but is it on my side? Defeating the enemies where I can find, but that's not in me. So prayers I need, and tax dollars, so my plans can proceed. We aim to make Gaza unlivable, our Nobel Prize. Then find a new place to colonize. Take the world back from the infidel guys. Make this region a 5-star paradise. Thank you, my lies have reached their demise.
Israel does not seek to resettle Gaza.
Lies have reached their demise. Thank you, my lies.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Sunday Wire. This is episode 570 of this weekly omnibus news and analysis TV and radio program. Thank you for rejoining us. And this is the Overdrive segment. I'm going to invite a couple of our colleagues onto the stage at this time. I see at least one has arrived. We'll bring him up right now. Ruckus, Adam Clark, both Ruckus, and we've also got Hesher from the Boiler Room as well. Great to see you guys. Welcome to the program this week.
Thanks for having us, Patrick. You made that comment near the end of that monologue, like, I don't necessarily want to be covering this. You know what I mean? Like, that really strikes me, and I'm sure Ruckus too. You know, a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about in this Trump 2.0 wave have just been like, do we have to talk about these politics anymore? It's so tedious and so in your face. It's just like the wicked big brother holding you down and, holding you down by your shoulders and dropping a loogie, like hanging a loogie over your face every time we got to do it. But hey, I'm glad to be here with you. Thanks for having me. It is what it is. Let's do it.
All right. Nice. Ruckus, go ahead. I mean, your initial thoughts. I don't know if you caught the opening segment or not.
I did. I'm glad you shared what you shared, because I was quite disturbed and disgusted by Trump's response to MTG stepping down right after his seriously unprofessional and disgusting thing with Thomas Massey. So, I mean, this guy does not improve. I mean, quite worse than not improving. He keeps doubling down to the opposite of what's the opposite of improving? Like, this is where we're at. We're like roller coaster, all the way down straight to Hades. You know what I mean? I mean, like, granted, there are quite a few people out there who are shocked and disturbed to be learning this the hard way, as demonstrated in this clever meme right here, where you got MAGA fighting against the deep state, and all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, Trump's on the other side with the deep state fighting against MAGA, huh? What happened? Now, I am proud to say I don't like to say, hey, I was right and I told you so, but I am one of the few people, even included in our small group, who had no hopes that Donald Trump was going to change anything, because I'm one of those crazy conspiracy theorists who don't believe that two-party politics makes a lick of difference. But I know you guys are in general on board with me on that, but I think a lot of us got fooled into thinking, oh, Trump, he's going to make a difference. And then on top of that, you got the Kamala thing, and there was no who's going to vote for that. I mean, hello. So yeah, it's just wrestling at the end of the day, and now we're just living it, unfortunately. But what's shocking to me more than anything, Patrick, are two things. Obviously, the incredibly in-your-face closeness with the technocracy stuff, which not enough people are talking about, and then just the disgusting behavior in your face, no apologies. He's telling reporters, "Quiet, piggy." Like, he's never going to get in trouble for that stuff. He's never going to get in trouble for throwing MAGA under the bus. We've seen his supporters, including friends and colleagues of ours, burning their hats. And he's not stepped back and say, oh, gee, maybe I should reconsider what I'm doing here because I'm losing favor with the people who put me in power. No. The people who put him in power, such as Marjorie Taylor Greene, who literally went to war for that dude. He threw her under the bus, drove over her multiple times, and then came back and injected her with a number of COVID shots just to make sure. Patrick, it's quite disgusting.
Well, according to Steve Bannon, that Trump wasn't elected by his supporters or Marjorie Taylor Greene support. He was elected by divine right, according to Bannon. So, I mean, again, it was God's will to put Trump in there. And I'm sure that might very well be the case, but maybe not for the reasons that Steve Bannon thinks. So maybe to show humanity basically what a complete turncoat, a despicable fraud any politician can end up being, especially if they're so desperate for power. And look, many of us defended Trump against the fake impeachments, against the lawfare, against all the unwarranted criticism even before he was elected, okay, because he ran as a change candidate. And so voters were so desperate for change that they supported the radical outsider in the hopes that this outsider would deliver what he campaigned on. Simple, that's politics. But he didn't. In fact, in the second term, he's really gone the opposite direction. And what's clear from his attack on Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene, probably to me, guys, the two most unassailable members of the House. In my opinion, I'm so impressed with MTG and Massie. I've not hardly ever seen anybody like this in my life. That and not only going against the grain, going against their own party. And that shows you, that the issues that they are basically getting hammered for, they're on the right side of those issues. And this president, rather than supporting them or even being neutral, Donald Trump could have just been no comment. I don't want to talk about Massie. He's whatever. I disagree with him on this, but let's not talk about him. Or MTG. No, he's primarying them. He's throwing millions at getting elected and then accusing Marjorie Taylor Greene of being a traitor and accusing Thomas Massie of offing his wife. I mean, his deceased wife. I mean, this is the level that this president's playing at. Seriously, where do you go from here?
It's like a bad reality TV show written by AI or something like that at this point. I mean, I don't like to think that everything is scripted, but if I was to, dip my needle into that groove and play that record where everything is scripted, and you really think back about the character arc of Trump and all of his entourage, his 1.0 and 2.0 entourage, and then all of his little, villain arcs and arch enemies just in every sector of the nation, of the planet, pretty much. And then all that crazy lawfare, just the most bombastic, stupid 7-season scripted reality show ever, right? Like, if that was what this is, which is hard to comprehend, right? Because there's just so many cogs and wheels and machineries and pushes and pulls. But if that's what it was, this is the worst reality TV show I have ever seen. And I don't want to be in it anymore. I don't want to see the final season. I don't want to see the spin-off show. Can we please just stop this? It's like this is proof. This is proof that we will never have a representative government again. It's over. It's done. It's dust. There's no coming back for it. The amount of energy that went into creating MAGA and creating the oppositions to MAGA, and then the obvious wedges that were driven into it, October 7 included, to be the biggest one, next to Gaza and Palestine. It's just disgusting, you guys. I hate this show. It sucks. It's the worst reality show I ever seen. And whoever planned it, I don't have enough middle fingers to show you.
I mean, I want to go to Ruckus in a moment. Something else Bannon said, Ruckus and echoes what Hesher's saying here. I mean, not echoes what Hesher's saying, but it validates what Hesher's saying. But speaking of wrestling, one of my favorite wrestlers back in, I'm talking classic WWF, was Kamala, the Ugandan giant.
Oh yeah.
Everyone loved Kamala. Everyone loved Kamala. And it's so funny that Kamala mysteriously died right around the time Kamala became vice president, or right before, something right around that time. And that was just kind of weird. But and he was against Kamala Harris, by the way.
There can be only one.
That was one of his, I think, tweets, actually, his post. I don't want to get into any of those conspiracies there. I just thought I'd throw that out there. I'm not going to throw any graphics up on screen, but those of you, Andre the Giant, Kamala the Ugandan giant, Lex Luger, those were the sort of golden days. That's how Donald Trump made his bones, by the way, is doing those WWF appearances.
And
there.
isn't it also interesting? I don't know if you saw the somewhat recent, within the last few years, documentary about Vince McMahon.
No, I didn't. No,
dude, it's crazy. Like, they go through a lot of the dirt, from the WWF days, what led up to that, the switch up to WWE, but it's mostly about Vince and his family and the way that he sort of, lorded over that whole industry, and the rivalries that he had with other, guys that owned other wrestling networks, whatever. But in the end of the documentary, Vince ends up in like a Me Too situation, like a hashtag Me Too situation. A lot of people start coming out with, some pretty personal and graphic accusations against him and whatnot. Yet somehow, as Donald Trump is coming in for 2.0, that all falls quiet. I haven't heard any updates on it. I'm sure someone would have them for me, but that was the last I heard, is a year or two ago, or something like that. And as Donald Trump comes in, we don't hear about Vince McMahon and these scandals anymore. Vince McMahon gets bought into the new punchy fighty system with Dana White and all these other guys, makes billions of dollars, gets the I don't know if he's still involved with WWE or Raw or what, or where the merges are, but that's all on Netflix now. They got a huge new deal. Like, that whole industry got pumped up big time. And then all of a sudden, Mrs. McMahon, right, becomes the Secretary of Education out of the blue.
What?
His wife becomes the Secretary of Education. She's the one that was heading the charge for, shutting down a lot of that educational money in the beginning of Trump's term here. So it's like, I just feel like there's some glad handing and some shenanigans going on in the background that are directly related to kind of what you're, being nostalgic about right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird how the wrestling world made its way into the White House. I mean, that's a little bit too much. So
it's in your
go
face.
ahead, Ruckus.
They're doing it to show everybody. This is why I think this is like the end game. I mean, when they're willing, because like it would take like us crazy conspiracy theorist people to tell everybody the world is a stage, war is theater, politics is theater. It's like wrestling. It's fake. We use the fake wrestling analogy a lot when describing left-right politics and this emergence of what comes out of the middle with the Hegelian dialectic, right? So there's always a third option that was hidden, that was planned all along. They do the problem, reaction, solution, all that stuff. Usually a great analogy for how a lot of this works is the wrestling, because they on camera pretend to be great big violent enemies of each other, but behind the scenes they're all best buds and friends. And beyond that, they all work for the same people. They all receive their paychecks from the same place. So, use your imagination when it comes to U.S. politics, where their paycheck is coming from. I think we all know, you know what I mean? Just ask AIPAC and ask I learned something recent. I guess there's only about 10 people who I guess did not receive any funding whatsoever from AIPAC. But I believe Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of those, and so is Thomas Massie. But it's shocking now, in your face, that they will literally bring the wrestling to the White House. I wouldn't be surprised. I think I've heard you mention this on the show, Patrick, that they might have like a cage match out on the White House lawn. I could probably see that happening for real.
Texas death match. So Ruckus, Bannon also said in an interview recently that Trump is going to have a third term, and it's just a formality. I think it's the 22nd Amendment. It's just a formality, but he's in danger of falling foul of the 25th Amendment before we even get to the 22nd, if you know what I mean. And I saw an interview recently on one of the main big podcasts about a doctor talking about the cognitive decline. I think it was on Danny Davis's Deep Dive about the cognitive decline of Donald Trump. He's losing his mental faculties. That's kind of scary considering all the new wars that he's started that we're sort of embroiled in. That does worry me a lot. I mean, with Biden, was somewhat limited to sort of existing wars, but Trump is determined to start many, many new ones. And so that does worry me a little bit. Also sort of tempting fate with nuclear confrontation. That also worries me. So the cognitive decline of Donald Trump, he could get done on the 25th. That's the one they pushed through. So Nancy Pelosi fast-tracked that through right before the end of the Trump administration. I can't remember. I think that was, I think that was right in 2020. And I didn't understand why. Like, why would you do that because we knew Biden was senile by then, even before he was sworn in. Everyone knew that. And so why did Pelosi do that? Was that because they were putting it in because they knew that they could use that against Trump in 4 years? It's hard to say, but it's there. It's there. So he's going to get impeached after they lose the House next November. And the polling suggests that they will lose the House. The Republicans will lose the House, possibly the Senate, if the polling is accurate. I mean, you guys saw what I put up about independence. I mean, this is just unheard of. This has never happened in history, what you're seeing right here. That is a tenfold swing on independence in 9 months. It's never happened in history. That shows you how unpopular this president is among the people that got him elected. These are the swing voters. And the Fox News people of the world and so forth, all of the grifters will tell you that this isn't happening, but it is happening. And it's happening for all the reasons I showed you guys in the opening segment. So this is a real thing that's happening. Okay. QAnon, breadcrumbs, 5D chess, that's not real. This is real. Okay. So what's going to happen then? Here's the question, guys. All the people that defended Donald Trump against the fake impeachment, and there's plenty of things to impeach him for that are legit right now, just after 9 months. I don't know where to start, but let's just say plenty of legitimate grounds for impeachment. For me, it would be posse comitatus and using the executive branch to deploy American troops in numerous American cities. And then there's the Venezuelan thing, blowing up fishing boats, etc. Then there's the tariffs. That is not presidential remit.
Blocking states' rights, also supporting the gun lobby in the background, the anti-gun lobby, believe it or not. We got some news on that. I mean, it's a laundry list, man. But
so are you guys going to defend Trump if he is impeached by the Democrats? Or are you going to think more like, well, he's had it coming. This is what you get for betraying your base. Look at that independent swing. I mean, what do you guys think? How will you react to an impeachment in 2027?
Yeah, wow. And what does the world look like after that? Like if there were actually a successful impeachment, like if House and Senate were to flip and there was a successful impeachment and he had to leave the office right then, what does that look like? Then what? Is it better? Is it worse? Is it just the same script running itself, on autoplay?
Don't know. Ruckus, go ahead.
He needs an out, right? We were just talking about this on Boiler Room the other night on Friday, right, Hesher? How who was it? Catherine Austin Fitz who was talking about it, but the Vance, the Vance elephant in the room, as it were, eager and ready and willing to maybe step in if something were to happen to the current president before he finishes his second term. So it's interesting to me that Bannon's talking about a third term. And if Trump was really on board with this kind of idea, I guess I answered my own question. It's not an elected thing because you can't get elected for a third term. So there'd be something else going on there. But let's pretend like, oh yeah, I fully expect that the people would want to see me in office again for the third time now. Don't you think you would be concerned about like those numbers we were just looking at with the independents? Don't you think you would be concerned that your most diehard rabid fans have ripped off their hats and set them on fire, that now MTG is stepping down? You've had this great big public breaking up divorce. That's what it symbolizes, a divorce between Trump and MAGA. I mean, this was the nail in the coffin. I mean, it's very good for you to point all of this out, because I think, especially for people who don't live here, including the people who live here, I don't think they're understanding the gravity of what this signals. This was the end. This was it, as far as I can tell, but maybe I'm wrong.
I agree. It's not looking good. So we're just 10 months into this presidency, and it's looking bad. It's bad for the country. It's bad for the world. And he's become a real liability, I think, to potential global stability. But then you have to ask the question, is this what do the people that purchased him, that put him in office, the people he's acting on behalf of right now, which are the sort of elite criminal class, okay? That's who seems to be benefiting. Look at all the tech oligarchs that line the front row of his inauguration, many of whom spent hundreds of millions to destroy him just a few years earlier. And he gave him a front seat. And that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. It's certainly not for myself. And we're going to look at some of the comments here, some of the comments coming out from, we were showing a few before this, but we're going to sort of catch up here and see what they're saying on the streams. What's this? It will be all fine. JD Vance has 307 days of statecraft. I don't see what the problem is. Oh, Putin's been in charge of 11 time zones for 25 years. I mean, that's putting it into perspective, isn't it? I think JD Vance is a bit of a lightweight. How old is he? 42? He's a kid. In political terms, he's a child. And he doesn't have any serious base. He is really beholden to the money masters. He hasn't been in politics long enough to have accumulated a real base. And if his base was MAGA, and he was a never Trumper just a couple of years ago, you guys remember, JD Vance was a never Trumper, but he cleverly pivoted in order to get a prime seat on the Trump train. And he himself is a tech bro product, as we know. So, and a child of Thiel and so forth. And so is he really the heir apparent, JD Vance? I don't think so. I think the heir apparent might be something else. But if it is, I mean, do you really think he can beat an insurgent? If the Democrats pulled their finger out and put in a decent candidate who could at least blag their way through, I don't think Vance could win. I just don't. He ain't Trump, and he himself lacks a lot of because he's gone along with Trump's worst policies. So rather than opposing them or being a countervailing voice, he's just been sort of a, sidekick, a loyal sidekick to Trump. This idea that he'd be the intelligent balancer of Trump, it's always the fantasy of the electorate. I even fall for this sometimes. That's okay. He's got Vance there to counsel him. He's intelligent. He's got a high IQ. And balance out Trump's weaknesses. You know what I mean? But it's never the case. I mean, I'm even guilty of this delusion. Every election, I think the vice president, is going to have some effect. It's not. The vice president absolutely fulfills certain deep state duties as vice president every time. The vice president is a very, very much a deep state actor within the administration. Just look at them. Look at what they turned Mike Pence into one, and we can go back. Joe Biden. I mean, please. Dick Cheney. I mean, hello.
Dick Cheney just passed away, right? A lot of people say he was actually the president during W's years, sort of in the background, the one that was making real decisions.
He had weight, though. Cheney had weight. Vance doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Cheney was a Bush senior, almost a Nixon guy.
Just to play devil's advocate, like, if we're really going to WWF, WWE, sock puppet, younger style politicians for the new wave of politics, and the important thing about them is that they have a technocrat's hand up their sphincter and then Israel's hand up the technocrat's sphincter, and then you end up with this centipede disgusting sort of thing going on, if you get my drift. Because
I don't want to get that drift, maybe. Because at least it's not two-fisted. Okay, so I'll give you that. Sorry, we're really digressing here. I don't know if you meant to.
It's my bad.
I don't want to say down that rabbit hole, but that's even bad. Anyway, let's just try to wipe that. Everybody collectively, we shall wipe that image from our minds. So speaking of puppets here, Al Gore, Vice President Bill Clinton, 2 terms. I mean, what did he turn out to be?
Climate change pusher, for one.
Well, the ultimate sort of globalist actor. He drove the complete technocracy, climate, WEF agenda. Al Gore was one of the sort of founding fathers of that. So again, just as a puppet, movie. At least he didn't have the Israel hand up there. Anyway, sorry. Let's drop that.
We hope.
Let's drop that. See what the chat are reacting to Hesher's. Let's say, I would say, physiological, anatomical metaphors. Let me see here. Mind wipe. Yeah. So Sunday Wire is now a mind wipe. Yes. This is an internal mind wipe. I don't even want to say internal. This is definitely a mind wipe. I'm trying to conduct a mind wipe, and I'm doing this for the good of our audience. I'm thinking of their welfare, their mental and spiritual welfare as well. Yes, that's right. Deep insights. We're all about deep insights here. Sorry, guys. Yes, we're all doing a collective. Okay, everybody, on a count of 3. And as you know, hypnosis is a very effective form of psychotherapy. On the count of 3, we will forget Hesher's anatomical analogies. 1, 2, 3. Forget Hesher's anatomical analogies and snap. Okay, we're back. Gentlemen, so tell us about what's wrong with the Trump administration, Ruckus. I don't know.
There it is.
There it is.
Get my mute button.
Photon says, call the men in black. I think we nearly wiped out Ruckus's voice.
I was looking for. I had the Pam Bondi as the Men in Black with the flashy device. I was looking for it. We were having fun with that one on Boiler Room. I lost the file, but yeah, there you go. You're asking me the answer to that question, because I don't know, and that's what's frightening to me, unfortunately. So I'm just glad that we all get to find out together. Isn't that fun? Yeah.
Some people are in tears. We're getting all sorts of distraught messages coming through the streams right now.
Oh, no. We traumatized people. Now we've done it.
I love this one too. I'm too woke to go to sleep again. I love that. I absolutely love that. Yeah, like rainbows are coming. Rainbows are coming. Look, it's working already. Mind wipe. I can't remember everything. See how effective this is.
What show is this?
Doing online on real hypnotherapy on a live stream. Thank you very much. So yes, sir. Yeah, that's what's going on, folks. Yeah. Here we go. Let's pivot to the Zionists. The Zionists really came out with Trump. He was their door. He was more than that. He's become their doormat, actually. It's embarrassing. I mean, what's going on here?
Patrick, do you think does it benefit that group of people, the political Zionists, to see Trump impeached, is that something they would pull strings to fight from happening, since we know that, they're funding pretty much all the Democrats as well? What do you think about that whole sort of deep state question?
The biggest fraud of all of this is that a lot of Republicans and the sort of people still clinging to Trump believe that Israel cares about the Republican Party or that Israel backs the conservative movement. They don't. They don't
They
care.
do?
The Israel is happy to see the breakup of MAGA because it means that they can move their support and work on the Democrats. And so they don't care. They'll bring in a Democratic president and they will could be worse than Trump. Like Biden was worse than every previous administration on these issues. So they don't care. They'll tool up for the next election. They'll make such a horrible Democrat, and they'll set the stage for a Republican. They'll back them, and they'll pick their cabinet, and they'll throw hundreds of billions of dollars at them. And that's it. They don't care. America is just a cash machine for Israel. It's a cash machine for Israel. And then Israel funnels back a small percentage of that money back into the American political system. But it's enough to buy off the House and Senate and the executive branch and the media. Okay. It's a small percentage of what they benefit from in terms of welfare from the US. That's just the way it goes, folks.
And is that country in debt like America is, Patrick?
They are now after October 7th, but that's mainly because they've basically destroyed their own economy, through what they've done. But they don't have nearly the levels of debts, of course, debt to GDP ratio that the U.S. is carrying. Of course, no country.
So then every time America gives them foreign aid, whether it's hardware or cash of some sort or bonds or whatever, however they do this, those billions of dollars that are sent every year, right? Every time that is sent, that is taken from the American. Wait, we don't have reserves because we're in a $32 trillion debt. So more debt is taken out on our names. By the way, it's about $111,000 each of us owe every single American if we were to pay off that debt right now. But every time they send that money over there, that's more debt that we incur, right? And longer that we are in debt. And it's essentially a tax on the American people. So they're taxing us. They're ruining our economy. We're taking hits on our economy because of it. And it goes there, and then they use it to do things like what they're doing in Palestine. They do it to do things to turn it around, like you just said, and use it to buy off our politicians. So our politicians are being bought off with our money that we don't even have because we're in debt. So we make new debt to give to another country so that their, political Zionist machinery can put it back in our country to make sure that it benefits them. Am I understanding this whole circle of financial life?
Well, yes, on a certain level you are. However, the national deficit, as you said, or what we're in debt to central banks, private central banks, we are paying for that. In fact, that 100 and whatever thousand per head debt that you've cited there, we're already paying into that constantly as it grows to 120 next year and 140 the following year. We're doing that through inflation. Okay, inflation is a direct result of the mad quantitative easing, as they call it, or printing money that the U.S. government does to pay Israel and pay for all this military largesse BS, and we pay for that in inflation. Simple. And Elon claimed to be against this, remember, for a few months when he was doing Doge, and discovered that somehow this was happening. We've been talking about it for 15, 20 years. But so we're already paying for it. It's a stealth tax, and it's based on U.S. deficit spending, period. So yeah, it's even worse than you said, Hesher. Actually, here I want to this comment here: the Epstein files will never be released. It's being used to gaslight the red versus blue paradox and hide the real crisis. Generally true. Your guys' thoughts? I mean, it's all redacted. I mean, the stuff that is going to be released, it's like only the quote unclassified. So all the Trump stuff in there is definitely going to be blacked out, and anything to do with national security. Well, apparently, how long is a piece of string there? That could be anything. So that's the Epstein release. So they can still cover it up and just give you stuff that's low value. The emails have been quite striking, though. Some of the stuff that supposedly was leaked, those emails that came out. Back to the point you were just talking about. Israel is the Trump administration's trying to fund U.S. money to Israeli October 7th hostages that are American dual citizens, while they're stopping and fighting against 9/11 widows. You see that on Tucker?
Yeah.
So I mean, anybody got a problem with this? It doesn't make any sense. So it's another payoff for Israel. They get what on the federal government made Colombia pay all these Israeli charities and NGOs to fight anti-Semitism, and they're just bankrolling all these organizations that are anti-First Amendment and creating jobs for these types of people that are hell-bent on attacking free speech in America. The Trump administration is doing that. So they're either using federal money for Israeli payoffs, or they're threatening universities to pay off all of these Jewish or Israeli linked organizations. That actually happened. I mean, talking serious money here. They're getting Ivy League schools to fork out, because I mean, wow. I mean, that's it's endless. It is endless. Anytime a crisis happens, there's a money transfer somewhere to fight this or do that, or in memory of this. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like a tap that never finishes. It's always on, always
the Democrats had a version of that, Patrick, with their DEI initiatives, creating the underwater basket weaving for transferees classes, right, in Pakistan, or whatever nonsense it was.
Yeah, I mean the DEI thing at this point,
and that was just the bouncy pit of fun balls for Doge too, right? And Trump coming in. Look at all this. Look at all these, bazillions of dollars of waste going to underwater basket furry transweaving in Pakistan and other places. And then it's just like now this. I found it, Ruckus. Now we've got Pam Bondi with the light that we all needed there, so we can have the mind wipe that we deserved after my unfortunate
woman
metaphor.
in black. It was yeah. There she is. I mean, we told you about the scam that got her into the AG position. They managed to get rid of Matt Gaetz. They've now got rid of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And on the MGT question, I personally think she was probably threatened by the pro-Israel mob. I don't think that's out of the realms of possibility. Does anybody agree with me in the comment threads? Was Marjorie Taylor Greene threatened? She better get out of office. I mean,
there's a lot of that going around these days, if you believe Candace Owens.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Tell us about that, Ruckus.
Oh, yeah. This is pretty big news. Allegedly, she has come out with what she believes is convincing enough evidence to suggest that on behalf of the Macrons, if you can believe it, because she's harassing those fine people, goodness, don't know why, suggesting that the one female is not female or whatever, you know the story, that they have hired a professional hit on her life. This is Candace Owens. Is she the world's #1 podcaster now, or is that just in America? I forget how this works.
She's one of the most popular in the world, I would say.
Yeah. Everyone knows who she is by now, especially because of the affairs that have been going on since, with the Israel MAGA fallout, the Kirk thing, you know what I mean? Charlie Kirk, of course. So now she says that they've issued a hit on her life, and then she talked to somebody or has a contact or whatever who says that one of the same people who's been hired to kill her was one of the same people that was allegedly hired to take out Charlie Kirk. So there's a lot of interesting developing stuff, but it was big enough it made the mainstream news. So other people are talking about it now, like, oh, so now, now you got spin saying, so I don't know where this is going to go, but yeah, that's out there. You know what I mean? So it's not out of the realms of possibility. I mean, politicians get death threats all the time. We heard in Marjorie Taylor Greene's statement earlier in the first segment that you did there, Patrick, she mentioned, continuous death threats all the time. So, if she's been able to grin and bear it through that, doing some wacky stuff, she's done some pretty wild stuff, and she can handle that. What changed all of a sudden? If there's some sort of outside pressure, it's got to be something serious. And the only thing I can think of is, hey, if a state actor is literally hired to hit on your life with a professional assassin, I'd back off too. You know what I mean? I can only say so many times. I'm not going to get Bill Coopered, but I don't want to get Charlie Kirk either.
Well, listen, the Charlie Kirk piece of that story was a little bit disturbing, because you're thinking, so if she thinks that was a legitimate source that contacted her. Again, I'm not one to say either way. Sounds a little bit weird, but let's say it's true. I mean, the Macron thing, you have to understand, I don't think Americans fully appreciate what a national embarrassment the Macron duo is to the country. It really is. I can tell you that from my experience, recently being on the ground, talking to people in France. And people just roll their eyes when you talk to them about it. They don't want to talk about it. They're really, really embarrassed. Macron and this sham marriage to whatever he or she or whatever it is a national embarrassment for the country. It's a humiliation. So if that's really the case, and I'm increasingly led to believe that it is, there is a possibility that somebody would reach out to somebody like Candace, who has a very clear position on the issue and a big platform, if they think that maybe she might be in danger. So it's plausible in this day and age. The podcasters like this are the new mainstream media in many ways. So we have to acknowledge this.
To be fair, Patrick, I found her tweet so that I won't be paraphrasing. This is literally what she said. She said, urgent. 2 days ago, I was contacted by a high-ranking employee of the French government. So that's the contact. After determining this person's position and proximity to the French couple, the Macrons, I assume, I have deemed the information they gave me to be credible enough to share publicly in the event that something happens. In short, this person claims that the Macrons have executed upon and paid for my assassination. Yes, you read that correctly. More specifically, that the green light was given to a small team in National Gendarmerie Intervention Group. I am told there is one Israeli that is on this assassination squad, and the plans were formalized. Again, this person provided concrete proof that they are well placed within the French government apparatus. Further to this point, this person claims that Charlie Kirk's assassin trained with the French Legion 13th Brigade with multi-state involvement. Journalist Xavier Poussard's life is also at risk. This is deadly, serious, etc. Then she asks everyone to share and tweet it. But that was the specific information that she was mentioning. So it was somebody in the French government. So she's only, I guess, been able to prove that he is or she is who they say they are. So take all of that with a grain of salt.
And I think it's also worth mentioning that because of, Candace's status, much like people like Crowder, she has an in-house lawyer or five. She's, she works with a lot of people. She doesn't say things that are, that she loves to use the metaphor of receipts. She's got receipts for most of the things that she says. And in the tweet, she mentioned Xavier Poussard. Xavier Poussard is a French journalist, a French independent journalist, and he is the one that has done the majority of the work that she has been presenting to American audiences and global audiences, and she's been open about that. But if something happens to Xavier or her, After this was put out and after 30 million people saw the tweet just on X alone, not to mention the, it being talked about at length in her podcast on, Friday, that's going to be a bad look. That's a real bad look if something happens to either of them, right? I mean, that is almost, is that like, could we call that false flag level? Like that could pop something off perhaps. I mean, maybe I'm overemphasizing what could happen, but when I think about worst case scenarios, if Charlie Kirk, just imagine, I don't want this to happen, but if there were a series of other Charlie Kirk incidents and they all had that kind of framework around them as far as the public narrative goes, what happens?
If you were to make a film about it or write a book about it, a la John le Carre, it wouldn't be Day of the Jackal. It would be, and here's my nominee for tweet of the week by Amen Pudama. Again, Day of the Shekel. Day of the Shekel. That's the film. All we need is a screenplay, guys. So get working on ChatGPT. There we go.
I'm gonna have to whip up a graphic movie poster for that one. That'll be fun.
Unbelievable. Someone made a comment, very offhanded comment about Chuck Schumer's wife, claiming Schumer's wife is a dude. We have no evidence to validate that, of course. But yeah, here we go. This is Sherlock. Schumer's wife looks like a dude. Looks like a dude or is a dude. We don't know. Some women have very masculine features, like Michelle Obama, for instance.
Well, Schumer's wife certainly takes the cake.
Look at this. They're trying to get out in front of me here, Hesher. Ruckus, look at this comment. This is Tanner saying, so now it's time for Patrick to talk about how Michelle, quote unquote, Obama is really a woman. See, they're trying
I get yelled at for the same thing because I also believe the same thing. I think that's a trap. I don't
get
fall
out
for
ahead
the
of me
trap.
on that talking point.
Did you guys see this one resurge this week? Michelle Obama did like a Vogue photo shoot in some tight jeans, and all over X there's video, like little cell phone videos of like the Vogue shoot. I think it was Vogue. Don't quote me on that, but there's like videos of like the makeup person or whatever, like walking away from her, just going, oh, like I think I just saw it. I saw so many of these last night. I was like, I had to click out. I was like, this is just never going to stop.
And guys, what about the inference that looks to me like it could have legs, that who set Donald Trump up with Melania? None other than Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, you guys
that going around too. Yeah,
you guys have seen that.
Oh yeah,
there's very potential receipts for that. Think of the implications of that for a moment now. If this is true, and Epstein sent Melania Trump's way, that's the president's wife. Israel sent Jared to Ivanka Trump, that's the son-in-law, married to his daughter. She converts to Judaism. And think about that. Trump as the perfect Manchurian candidate for Israel there. Just throwing that out there. Epstein, matchmaker. And it wouldn't be the first time. Epstein, so Elon Musk's brother, I think, was set up by Epstein, his girlfriend. Epstein introduced, if I'm not mistaken, that was in the Huffington Post. I'm pretty sure that was the case. So that came out. So think of that. And that's when Musk's brother, Kimball Musk, was second in command at Tesla. So Epstein, being an Israeli agent, this is now beyond question, by the way, especially with the leaked email, the last tranche. It's not conspiracy theory. Think about this, guys. It's a little bit too much. A little bit too much. Too many data points for my liking there. Sorry. Yeah. And Kamala was married to an arch Zionist Jewish husband, would have been the first man. And that's interesting as well. Not to mention Chelsea Clinton married to Mark Mavinsky. She converts to Judaism. Major Israeli linked criminal Mavinsky's dad. So both Kushner and Mavinsky, the husbands of Chelsea Clinton and Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka, both married to the children of convicted criminals who are also mega donor types or major Israeli loyalists. I mean, it's beyond a coincidence. What do you think? Bit too much influence there from the little New Jersey on the Med?
Little much. It's a little much.
We're just calling out facts here, folks. I mean, I'm just sort of lining it up.
And this information is well collated at this point. You know, it doesn't have to just be sound bites and things you hear about these people on podcasts. I mean, if you're following our buddy Johnny Vedmore, for example, you're getting this laid out in great detail. And, you know, Whitney Webb out there making a lot of noise on the internet about this too, on really big podcasts over the last couple of years. Can't quite reach that Joe Rogan level for whatever reason. That's a whole nother story. But, you know, she's getting quoted on Joe Rogan by other people who have read her book about it. People that have been watching our shows for years also have had a lot of information about it. So, you know, all this stuff is just, again, out there in your face. Feels like you're in some sort of lame Truman Show or something like that, and you're just watching the marionettes go.
And this is the sort of lowbrow comment that you expect from Elvis. Patrick, can you tell us how sexy Kristi Noem is? I mean, seriously, guys. I mean, she's right up there with Sarah Palin. Really, you know, most thought about soccer mom.
I got this one for you, Patrick. Kristi Noem would be a lot sexier if she wasn't shooting dogs. How about that?
Well, yeah, that's a bit of a turnoff. A completely fake construct. You know, DHS had. Do you see her like posing with ice at these busts with the hair just out of the curlers, the hair just out of the curlers. It's like a Pantene commercial. Carrying with the flak jacket and the gun, and she was holding a gun wrong. Did you remember that one? Did you guys see with it? Was it backwards or upside down? I can't remember what it was, but
well, I think she had it muzzle aimed at someone's head. Also,
that was
in one of those
strange
pictures.
Yeah, that was odd. So anyway,
South Park is completely wrecking her. It is so funny. Like South Park is the last. I guess you could call them the last season. There are only a few episodes now, and the current one have been so sort of right in the wheelhouse where we've been as far as, you know, analysis on this, but of course with oodles of satire. But Kristi Noem has been a staple character in this season, and her face literally falls off of her skull and crawls away. Like when she doesn't have people working on her 24/7, it's like, you know, you hear all these like jackhammer sounds and stuff, 8 people around her, and she looks great. And then she starts talking and her face starts to sag, and then it just falls off and crawls away. It's so brutal what they're doing to the characters in this administration. And their portrayal of JD Vance is like one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen. He's just this tiny little like tattoo from Fantasy Island.
So who do you guys think is Bubba in this supposed Epstein email that Trump blew Bubba? Or, you know, they say it's Bill Clinton. I'm not sure about that, but then again, weird stuff happens at that level. I understand that.
I've heard, this is just what I've heard. This is not me saying what I believe. There is now mention of it might be a horse, and I can't do this. I just can't.
No, Hesher, the anatomical metaphors were bad enough, Ruckus. We cannot go there with the
quick, where's Pam Bondi with the flashy thing, Hesher?
But it is Epstein after all, so, you know, anything's possible. I mean, you know, we are talking about elites here and all sorts of stuff like that. Here we go.
Thank you.
I mean, there's just all sorts of horrible things being said in the comments here. Most likely Epstein still alive somewhere nice. Timothy McVeigh also. I'm not sure. I think they got rid of McVeigh. Because he was expendable. Personally, that's my feeling on that. He was a federal informant or asset who was then liquidated to take the fall, probably under heavy meds right to the very end, you know, handled by the notorious federal psychologist Jolene West.
To be serious about that question, though, who I think Bubba is, I'm just going to go out on a wild limb here because I don't believe it would be something as salacious and disgusting as like he's literally doing the whatever to another person. But I wouldn't put it past these types of people to have some sort of effigy or something dressed up and where they were pretending that he was doing such a thing. And that it was probably a great big inside joke, part of their blackmail material, whatever it might be. Maybe it's like they took a blow up doll and put a thing on it. I almost used the D word. I don't know how we feel about the D word on this program. And then maybe maybe they performed these things in an act of some sort that wasn't, a real thing. And they have photos of that. And it's, it's a joke. Hey, remember when Trump blew Bubba? Oh yeah, I remember. And maybe it was a doll labeled Bubba or something. That's my genuine feeling about the whole thing. If that is, what that was talking about.
Could have been a woman. Could have been a dude. Could have been something else. Oof, don't know. Trump converted in 2017. I've heard this before as well. That's why he didn't put his hand on the Bible at inauguration. He didn't put his hand on the Bible. So that was weird. Did anybody find that strange?
Mm-hmm.
And what does that sort of signify? I mean, how do we have to be that clever to work that one out? I don't think so. Don't think so. It's pretty straightforward.
It's strange for someone who was handpicked by God to do. Otherwise, hey, it is what it is.
Okay, so what if Melania was filmed in a bad situation? I don't think so. I think more like the people that she was running around with were, and then she got fixed up with Trump. Was it Epstein? We don't know. But Kash Patel, we're talking about arranged marriages, and can we say honeypot legally on air now? Let's just put a Winnie the Pooh picture up on stage. Don't mention Cash's girlfriend. You'll get sued for $5 million. We haven't said her name, but a lot of accusations. Think people are saying things about the country and Western singer who was attached to Kash Patel at a time, and he suddenly says we need. Kash said early on in this year. There we go. Hesher, he's done it right. That's it. So we're not talking about honeypots. We are making a reference to Winnie the Pooh and Tigger too. See, we're not talking about Kash Patel or Alexis Wilkins. We're not. Just be clear about that. This is about Winnie the Pooh. And anybody who's making any other inferences on this, we don't support that sort of.
It has nothing to do with China or their leader. Calm down.
It has nothing to do with any of that. 10 days at Mar-a-Lago. A lot can happen in 10 days at Mar-a-Lago. Everything goes back to Epstein and Mar-a-Lago. Isn't it weird that Epstein supposedly poached Trump's staff who ended up being the key witnesses in his trial against him? I mean, it's kind of weird. The whole thing is very strange. Guys, do you really think Trump is that disconnected from Epstein? Because he claims, I hardly knew the guy. No, he flew in his jet a number of times. They knew each other extremely well for many, many years. I think this is a problem, especially if he's an Israeli agent. It makes one think, what have they got on Donald Trump?
And why? And also on top of that, it begs the question, why was that not used as leverage during Trump 1.0 when we were all supposed to think that they were using everything they had against him to get rid of him? That fact right there is what causes the dissonance in the remaining MAGA on this topic, I believe, because at that point, the talking point, in Trump 1.0 in those first 4 years, the talking point was, well, he never hung out with him again after he found out he was a psychopath, right? But now, like, we're seeing these new emails and stuff like that, and it does feel like there is some sort of, so what's the deal? Was this held back on purpose so that, Trump, they would almost to me mean that Trump 2.0 was a already made decision, was already going to happen. Why would you hold that stuff back if they really wanted to get rid of him so bad during his first term? You know what I mean? It's almost like,
no, they made it all about Russia.
Yeah.
They made it that Russia had compromise or blackmail on Trump. But what if it was always Israel the whole time?
Right.
I Now look at this. And I don't know if Ruckus, if you can do a quick, or one of you guys can do a quick search. Was Melania originally dating Jeffrey Epstein? And is that how? Because there are clearly reports about this circulating.
Basil Analyzer was on the show with us on Friday, Hesher, on Boiler Room, and we were talking about this. The dude who owned the modeling company that Melania came from.
Yes.
And I think that he had very close ties to Epstein, and I can't remember this guy's name.
It wasn't Jean-Luc Brunel, was it?
Was it?
It was either Brunel. No, I think it was Brunel actually. And
I think so.
Oh boy, yeah, that was a late night Boiler Room. I need to refresh my memory on that. But we have some links. We have some links on Boiler Room that support what we were talking about there. And it came up when we were talking about the Israeli spy that was pardoned and then flown back in the personal jet of like one of the Adelsons or Adelson type people to Israel, and that was kind of where we ended up in that rabbit hole. I have that up at Alternate Current Radio if you want to go look at it. It's got support links on it and stuff.
Yeah, if you have anybody talking about this of any decent credibility and you want to read it on air, just to give a little backing to that, because it's not a theory. I think there's some actual, serious connection there. That Melania came via Epstein. I mean, think about that one for a moment. Wow, that would be something else, wouldn't it? Oof.
Yeah, there are articles. I'm just doing a preliminary search here. I don't want to start reading or talking until I can get a little further into them. But there are articles about the past relationships between Epstein and Melania. So there is information out there.
It was Paolo Zampoli. He was a co-owner of Metropolitan Models. That was the guy's name.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
And he was an associate of Epstein.
I think his name came up somehow. I'm gonna try. That's the part I can't remember. But that was the guy who was the one that made Melania, that gave her big break, got her out of Slovenia into America, and then all of a sudden she's sharing an apartment with a friend of this guy who was a photographer and rubbing elbows with just the right people, and bam, here we are, right?
Yeah, Anna Paulina Luna, that's a stage name, by the way. Anna Meyerhofer, that's her actual name, which is German. Could also be, who knows? I don't know the full story there. Interesting. Yeah. They installed Biden to get the wars going. So Trump would have deniability and come in to carve up Russia and Gaza, or Ukraine and Gaza, and then put him back in. Only Russia was too strong and didn't go with the plan, so to speak. That's a plausible, theory. I would say it's as plausible as what people might believe is the case now, guys. So that's a decent bit of sort of projectionism there that I think is somewhat legitimate. Oh, here we go. Some more factoids, guys. Melania, this is from Elvis himself, the king. Melania was roommates with Victoria Silvestre. Look into Victoria Silvestre and who she, quote, married to and lives in Morocco. Who is Victoria Silvestre married to?
She's a famous model, and she's married to like one of the big names that we're struggling to circle around right now while I'm looking stuff up.
Okay, yeah, look that one on, but I'll leave that comment up there until we get some additional information for that. But it's very interesting.
Oh yeah, you would recognize her. Swedish actress, singer, Playboy playmate, television host, beauty pageant title holder. She participated in Miss World 1993 before branching out into modeling. Was Playboy Playmate of the Year in 97. What up, 97? That was a good time. Let's see, career, blah, blah, blah. Who is she married to?
Chris Ragg. He's a news guy, co-anchor for New York's CBS 2's News This Morning. Yay.
dual citizen.
Chris Rag, as in dish. Sorry.
Yeah.
Read number 5, which addresses Roy Cohn as a connection to the CIA admission that Donald J. Trump caved in to allow release of the virus. Oh, don't get into the super virus release.
Oh, please.
Yes.
Yeah. Cohen's a character worth looking into for sure. We got a lot of stuff on that one, but that particular data point I'm not interested in very much.
I mean, imagine if that's your mentor, Roy Cohn. I mean,
yeah, no, there's a there, but it's not somewhere we want to go. Right now.
Yeah. Melania can't even speak English. And here we are, Gestapo brutalizing citizens, or not for the color of the skin. I'm not sure what that means. I'm a little confused by that comment. Here we go. One-stop shop for all your wives. That's Jeff Epstein. Yes, indeed.
Here's a quick soundbite for you, or a read from an article here at dreadeddistractify.com. They say, quote, here's what we know about Melania Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's relationship. Melania and Donald Trump were longtime friends of Epstein, and according to Time magazine, the president has known Epstein since the 1980s. Trump married Melania back in 2005 after former first son Hunter Biden claimed that Epstein introduced Trump to Melania. Melania threatened to sue him for $1 billion, as posted in the BBC. The First Lady called the accusation, quote, false, disparaging, defamatory, and inflammatory, end quote. Biden made the claim during an interview with journalist Andrew Callaghan over the summer. Epstein, he said, quote, this was Hunter, Epstein introduced Melania to Trump. The connections are so wide and deep. And after learning about Melania's lawsuit and being asked if he would apologize, Hunter replied, quote, never going to happen, end quote. So, yeah, there you go. And there's people on Twitter that are posting this too. They have lots of examples of that in this article. So, you know, there's stuff out there, but I've yet to been able to verify it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of chatter on this topic, obviously connecting Epstein to Melania. Again, if there's any truth in any of that, it's bad news for Trump, or just the image of Trump somehow being divorced from this circle of manipulation, blackmail, Israeli intelligence. I mean, do you think Roy Cohn wasn't an Israeli asset? Seriously? He's definitely a CIA asset. Just saying.
There may be a thin line between.
I mean, it's a little bit problematic, but then again, so is Jeff Epstein. He was definitely a double or triple agent. I'm sure just with Ghislaine Maxwell, absolutely, there's your line straight to Israeli intelligence and British intelligence and the CIA. Imagine selling this type of information to the highest bidder. Imagine being paid more than once for the same intelligence product. Yeah. That's a good business. That's a good business.
Roy Cohn was... Yeah. Sorry. Roy Cohn was known for doing the Jeffrey Epstein stuff too, right? He was doing some blackmail type things.
Yeah, he was into no holds barred, whatever it takes, no limits. And so he was
a mentor to Trump, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Just thinking something out here out loud, but
he was a mob lawyer. He was gay, and a brutal gangster as well. So it's quite a potent combination there of some interesting profiling attributes.
Mm-hmm. Trump is also a teetotaler. Allegedly, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do all that stuff.
He needs a drink. That guy needs a drink.
I'm adding up all the things here. Trump does not strike me as the type of person throughout his life, even, you know, all of the wild parties and being a bachelor and a rich guy and all. He doesn't strike me the type of person to easily be blackmailed. I don't see him so very simply being like, I don't think he's in the Epstein files the way some people are hoping or thinking that he is. And I think I'm just suggesting this because I think more I feel that more of his defense of why, if he's going to, if he's going to be responsible for any redactions or slowing down the release or this or that, it's to protect his buddies. It's not to protect himself. It's all the other people. And of course, there's the elephant in the room, Israel. But again, I think people are going to be barking down up the wrong trees and miss the good stuff when this stuff finally hits. They're going to be all like, see Trump, and doing all the math and jumping through the hoops to prove whether or not Melania was hooked up, based on what Hunter Biden said. I mean, Hunter Biden Hesher, really? Anyway,
but I mean,
the source.
Yeah, he might be in the know. You never know. I saw Chanel's comment, 3202. Epstein bragged about it. I've heard that before. I don't know if I've actually seen it or read it or heard where it came from. So I'd be interested to see the resource link there. And I'll also point out, let me read from one of our commenters in the Discord here. This is a very well-read gentleman in our Discord, Mr. Bear. The middleman who introduced Melania is a guy with an Italian name, Paolo Zampoli. He served on the board of Ghislaine Maxwell's NGO. Paolo Zampoli's association with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell include overlapping NYC modeling circles. They attempted to buy Elite Agency together in 2004, which was Vogue. Shared contacts like Giuseppe Caprini and Flavio Beratore from Epstein's Black Book, Observer, and Race Fans. Indirect links via Jean-Luc Brunel, who flew on Epstein's jet in the flight manifest and partnered with Maxwell on Sustainable Oceans Alliance charity in 2013 via the Clinton Global Initiatives. So, Paolo Zampoli, that's what we're hearing from one of our power listeners over here.
Someone else made the comment that, what is it? They say Melania speaks 7 languages. Have you heard that? And they say, how come she can't hardly speak English? I mean, interesting point. It's a fair point. So, I mean, fair play if she speaks 7 languages. It is kind of hard to fathom that one of those 7 fluently is not English. But she's sort of okay on English. Not great, but, sort of okay.
AI Melania is very good with her English, I've noticed.
Yes, yeah, but so funny, isn't it? And she, I mean, it's too much. Yeah. So we'll see. A lot of these women have multiple husbands, and normally of high profile, many of them. So it is interesting if the model was an intelligence asset, certainly that's quite a career for anybody in that line of work to work that sort of end of the game, as it were. Just saying.
Yeah. That's pretty hardcore, man. That's a pretty hardcore woman. I just got to say, like, to the spook intelligence women out there that are willing to, get into arranged marriages to manage someone and stuff. Like, wow, you are a creature that is difficult for me to comprehend. I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah. Everywhere you look, gay mobsters. Well, there are the Cray twins in the UK. I mean, they're famous. There's others too, Roy Cohn, others. So it's not unusual. I mean, Roy Cohn, he was sort of dipping below the bar. There's all those accusations as well, if you know what I mean. The age of consent bar, if you know what I mean. So it's like, that's interesting. I mean, very unsavory character. Certainly and nobody you'd want to be your mentor unless you yourself were getting into the organized crime business. Yeah.
Speaking of unsavory characters, what did you think about this? Another crack in the fissure, as it were, between MAGA and Trump. Some supporters of Trump are scratching their heads furiously, wondering what's going on with his new bestie hanging out there, Zohran Mamdani, the New York City newly elected mayor. Did you see that, Patrick?
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. And I mean, he is the mayor of New York. That's something. Maybe he was getting a talking to by Trump, But at the end of the day, Trump's an old boomer. And Mamdani's 34 years old. I mean, that's quite an achievement for a 34-year-old to get elected mayor of New York by a landslide. He has his own power base, you see. So Mamdani, say what you want, and he's certainly going to get co-opted by the establishment to a large, possibly a large degree. But he does command a very big electorate. If he runs again and is reelected, that's a legitimate political dynasty right there. And you're talking under the age of 40 with 2 terms already as New York mayor. Like, whoa, that's a guy that could go anywhere and do anything pretty much at that point. And despite the protestations of Laura Loomer, who claims it's an Al-Qaeda plant, so I think Trump respects that and is acknowledging that, and that no matter what, he's going to have to work with Mamdani. It's a big mandate. You don't see those sort of numbers. And think of the amount of money that was thrown at losers like Andrew Cuomo, a known corrupt failure of a politician. And yet the establishment, that's all that was available, and they just threw tens of millions at this guy. And he got buried. It's like, I mean, that's as big a part of the Mamdani story is the failure of the establishment to put a dent in his run, which that's quite a big thing. That's quite a big thing. So we'll see how he does. Listen, New York, the results will be in the numbers. If you can pull the city together and make stuff happen, people are happy, great. If not, do some innovations. Obviously, you got to get crime under control. That's like half the problem for New York. If you get crime under control, tourism's better, business is better. Simple. But that's the big challenge. And that's a problem for all American cities. So it's not just a New York issue. The wealth gap is insane now, and it's getting crazier. And so that's also, balancing out that situation, these mega cities, not easy. Not easy unless you it's like you want to go for the RoboCop. That's coming. That's coming. If Elon has his way, RoboCop will be a documentary, not a bit of science fiction.
But Elon wants you to have Robo Doctor too, so don't worry, it'll balance out, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's California. They got the same issues. So yeah, we shall see. Trump ruined MAGA forever. Yeah, that's an understatement. He killed it. He killed it. So yeah, we got a lot of there's so many ways you could go on this. Obviously, we'll see. Yeah, proof's in the pudding with Mamdani. We'll see what he does.
Patrick, yeah, go ahead. No, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you go ahead, Hesher.
Well, I was going to change subject just a little bit, just go backward. I have noticed people criticizing MTG's retirement because she had just reached the point in her career where she could get like lifetime benefits. And I don't know how I feel about that criticizing. It's like, I don't really fault her for that. Like, if I were her and everything's above board, I can't say I wouldn't have done the same thing. Like, after all the death threats and all the bull crap and, the things my family had to go through for me to be that, like, yeah, I'm going to wait it out an extra year here and get my retirement for this crap. Like, I really can't fault her for that, but I do see a lot of people kind of, peeved about that. What's your take on that?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It's
conveniently timed. I mean, I agree and all that, but I mean, she earned it, right? Like, she legally earned it by spending 5 years there. That's what the policy says. Anyone that's there 5 years has access to those benefits.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just it's gonna be something that people will seize on, just because of the way the partisan issues and talking points are laid out, and it's just going to be like one side's going to see that as red meat, and then they're going to go for it. I don't know how much longer though these standard division issues are going to go, because there's structural issues that still need to be like addressed. And one of those is just the freaking insane inflation that Trump supporters claims not happening. They say, "Oh no, geez, tariffs are working." Have you seen this week? How Trump's tariff policy is lowering inflation, and I'm like, where's the lowering happening? What are you guys talking about? Was it, the price of luxury sports cars is coming down? Well, great, that's great. So I can get a Maserati now for like 80,000 rather than 120. That's a good deal. Can you do me 70 for cash?
Best I can do.
So I know that's where I'm looking at. I'm just seeing these structural issues are like a tidal wave. They're like a tsunami that's building, and it's going to crush. It's just what's going to happen. It's going to end up crushing everything, and we're going to have an absolute mayhem politically. And they're setting the table for, there's going to be so much appeal for radical socialism and even communism at some point. And what Elon wants to replace the workforce with robots, that's going to definitely increase bottom line for certain, corporations. But are the people down below going to receive any of the benefits of that? Or is that going to go supposedly through tax, through government, and come back to the plebs as UBI, universal basic income? Is that how is Elon hasn't, and Theo, they haven't mapped this out for us like correctly. I've not seen the details of the master plan. Like, how's that going to help the little guy? Because there's a lot more little guys now than there was 10 years ago, and they're going to be 100 times more little guys in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
And the little guy, to answer your question, does not have a say. The little guy doesn't get a say in the overall plan. The little guy waits, and the little guy plays with the distractions and toys that we're given while we wait. And what we're waiting for is a catalyzing event, a catastrophe, an engineered catastrophe, anything. We've got the list here. I have the list. It's a scroll. It won't fit on the screen. I'd pull up this big paper scroll of list of potential apocalypses. Here we go. And it would roll down my desk and my floor and out the hallway. We got all kind of options. So we, the little guys, have to wait around for the catalyzing event and for the talking heads to build us up to it, while distracting us with other things. And we don't know what it's going to be. Maybe it's going to be an AI attack. We had a Chinese AI cyber attack this week that was thwarted by the amazing AI engineers in America at Anthropic. Oh my goodness.
Thwarted.
Oh my goodness. What a story. What a great story. They send a senator from, Tennessee onto Fox, and, talked about how great Anthropic is, that they saw their own code coming back at them from China from a completely AI generated cyber attack that was going to go after, I don't know what, they aren't really saying, but they made a big deal about it. And I just felt like, ooh, that's a little test right there. Testes, 1, 2, 3. What's going on here? So that was pretty strange, and the way it was covered was pretty strange, but that one's kind of moving to the top of my list. Some sort of financial collapse based on an AI attack.
Tom Cotton said that we can bomb the cyber attacks. Like when you see it coming down the fiber optic line in the Pacific from China, that we can bomb those, according to Tom Cotton.
Okay.
Trump believes we can grow a way out of it. We're talking about this economic hellhole. It half worked in the 80s when the debt was under 5 trillion. It can't work now. I tend to agree with that. And then here we already have UBI. It's called government employees. Yeah, they're on it. That is the biggest employer in the country, right? It's
I've never had such good UBI, man, as when I worked with the government. I'll tell you what.
They have a new term for it, or Elon does when he was talking about it recently. He's calling it a universal high income now.
Okay.
Exciting.
And it's
Great.
all thanks to Tesla, because everybody will get their own Tesla robot, and the Tesla will, he literally said the Tesla can follow you around and make sure you don't commit crimes. So we don't have to worry about criminals or jail cells anymore. You just get a free Tesla robot and it'll make sure you don't commit any crimes. He laughs about it. But yeah, everybody gets a universal high income, their own high quality surgeon in their house. So thank Elon Musk for all of that, everybody.
Yeah, I know we're getting into eugenics now. The comments are descending into the lowest forms of the conspiratorium. And this is just what happens. Well, Elon is like the village idiot, but filthy rich. Not far off. Not far off. He does have a plan, though. It's just not a plan that I think involves the human race so much, except for his offspring, apparently. He does like them. He wants to populate Mars with his own genetic stock.
Who else had that sort of theory? I think we talked about him earlier. I'll just leave that.
Epstein?
What? Tiny mustache man? No, Epstein. That's right. Epstein did.
Yep. He wanted to have as many. He wanted to spawn thousands of children if he could. There's
So Elon, Epstein, and Adolf Hitler all have that in common. That's interesting. That'd make an interesting article. I think we should write that. Very interesting. That's interesting. What an interesting ambition.
Yeah. Where does that come from? Like, is that something you and your buddies sit around and talk about? Like, I mean, when the three of us sit down together, that is so far and away from what we're chatting about when we're just hanging out, not doing this. And it's like, you got to confide in someone about that, right? And no one told him that's insane, that's immoral, anything like that, you know?
Here's an Elon fan in here says, I love how people who've never met Elon in person think they know well Elon is. I just judge a tree by its fruit. So we go by the results. That's all. We can criticize.
Are they talking about the same Elon that we're talking about?
Maybe a different Elon. No, we're talking about Elon Musk. Mars cannot be terraformed. That's right. Elon's already thought of that. That's why he's planning to build hyperloops underground for people to live underground in Mars. You can go up with a suit on.
Yeah, you can be pod people on a dangerous space planet after going through the Van Allen radiation belt and landing safely. It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah. And this is the real deal here. Universal income won't buy you a loaf of bread, though, as the US dollar fails but is replaced by digital currency, which they can then prop up through other mechanisms of putting expiration date on the issuance of currency. That's how they control the supply value, by canceling it or basically taking it back off you. So basically, you got to run out and spend it as fast as you can. So it's like a third world country in hyperinflationary mode. Same thing. So yeah, we're all part of a Philip K. Dick novel. I wish it wasn't true. I wish it wasn't true.
I wish it was as cool as a Philip K. Dick novel. I still feel like it's a terrible reality TV show that was written by people that read Philip K. Dick.
I would be cool to see Alex Jones with a megaphone out, driving around in a car, shouting at people on the street like the end is over. I mean, that was cool. In his Scanner Darkly, I think that was Alex's greatest role.
Mm-hmm.
He was just being himself. I liked when Alex used to make films. I keep saying that, but I think that's when he was at its absolute best. When Alex was making films.
We were just observing shades of an old Alex. So this is what it reminded me of. I was like, man, this reminds me of the good old Alex Jones days. He did this thing, and we were just talking about this in our private chat last night, where he shared this, a caller from Boston is on the line, and this just random caller from Boston is explaining in great detail how the United Nations has gotten their claws inside the military, and that there's operatives from the UN now working undercover inside the military, and oh no, and Alex Jones made a big deal about it on his tweet or whatever. And I'm like, yes, that's the good old-fashioned scaremongering Alex Jones we love.
Yeah, he's on the dictator Nicolas Maduro. So okay, you're a neocon. I get it. What John the Baptist was to Jesus, Elon is to the Antichrist. Well, that's quite heavy right there. We'll leave that up on screen for a moment, folks. Let that one sink in.
If you put that on X, how many porn bot likes would you get immediately?
I'm screenshotting that right away, and I'm just going to say, Look at this comment that came in on our live stream, and you guys are implicated because you're on the screenshot. Okay, got it. So here we go. Quick pivot before, look, we're going to wrap it up, but I just have to throw this one out. I love this comment. Van Allen Belt. Yes. And when we talk about Mars, we have to talk about Mr. Van Allen. We must talk about the Van Allen. We need to talk about the Van Allen radiation belt. We need to have a conversation, family. Let's go, fam. Let's talk about the Van Allen radiation belt. How are you going to get through that? How are you going to get through that? So the robots will get through it.
Robots.
Yes. Until we can do a rocket with 4 feet of lead lining. That's going to be a heavy one. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Here we go. The Boys from Brazil. The Boys from Brazil, starring Gregory Peck. He probably runs a cloning lab underneath sketchy Mexico range. Science fiction, but not anymore. That sort of stuff is happening.
There's a company that's advertising designer babies now. I just found this the other day.
I was going to remind you all back in the 90s. Remember when Bill Clinton, he came out and said after the sheep dolly was cloned, remember when they were doing all the cloning? And this was back in the 90s. He says, we've all come together and agreed that we won't use this technology on humans. Oh, okay. So I'm sure that they never have. Nobody's tried to do that. And that, how many years since then? Yeah, I'm sure that they probably do this kind of weird stuff.
Yeah, I prefer Van Halen, says Dr. Nick Riviera.
I'm talking about me too. I'd rather listen to some Van Halen than go through the Van Allen radiation belt.
David Lee Roth, Van Halen, not Sammy Hagar. When Sammy Hagar, like when he came on, it's basically just an extension of Sammy Hagar, because it just felt like the next stage of Sammy Hagar's solo career. Not
Van Hagar.
Van Hagar, that's right. Yeah, David Lee Roth was just so wild and wrong that he was perfect. Actually, great pop rock. They used to fill stadiums. Those guys. I mean, just like
they were immense. I don't know if people know how immense they were in those first 4 albums. Oh my gosh.
Huge, absolutely huge. Okay, this is heavy. This is heavy, guys. This is from Steve Gibble. Mars is the god of war. They're telling us they're going to war. Mars metaphor or symbolic of ritual, occult, hidden hand. One could read it that way for sure. It's like the Mars mission. Elon is tweeting out these cities, and such deception to think that that's going to happen during the Trump term. But that's the kind of stuff Elon's pushing out as soon as Trump was elected during the transition period in the first couple of months. And of course, with Doge, we realized that that's not going to happen because that money is being spent on U.S. military, not on Mars. And Elon was then kicked out of government. Anyway, that's a very provocative tweet, as is this one as well, about the replicants.
Mm-hmm.
Love Eddie. Yeah, love Eddie. We miss Eddie.
Yeah.
He was awesome. It's awesome. Hagar is a talentless charlatan. That's a bit mean.
Ouch.
Hagar is a talentless charlatan.
Ouch.
You're talking about Sammy Hagar there. I mean, come on. Easy, Tiger.
Well, from what I hear in the current, day and age, Hagar is a lot easier to hang out with than Roth. So we'll give him that.
Vodka out, right? Sammy Hagar's got his own. Everyone's got their own tequila and their own vodka. I'd love to do the same thing, but I don't really be promoting alcohol. That's just
Willie Nelson has something that's not alcohol. It's like fake whiskey. Have you seen this stuff?
Oh yeah,
non-alcoholic spirits. Yeah, I've tried some of those, and this doesn't have the same kick.
Go figure.
Yeah,
but they are interesting to taste, and the ingredients, of course, are very good. But I'm told that the purest Russian vodka is actually good for you. That could be true in moderation. The problem is when it's that well made, as they do in deepest, darkest Russia and Belarus, it's that well made. You don't feel it when you drink it until it's too late. That's the problem. Unless you're bred for that type of thing, i.e., you're genetically Russian, and you literally, reared from the black soils of the of the Russian plains. It's dangerous. So obviously, it's only something that they can really relate to. But Lukashenko, remember during COVID, he's saying, have a shot after each meal, and that's what we're advocating, and no masks or vaccines.
There you go.
Yeah, and they went after him pretty viciously at that point. But yes, sir. Alcohol is a chemical. Actually, it's just sugar. Yeah. Wow. Are you ever grounded in reality? You better believe it. We are so grounded in reality, it's depressing.
His shoes are heavy.
It's depressing. Pigs in Space. I remember that show.
Oh yeah.
Pigs in Space.
That was a Muppet Show classic segment, right?
Do you remember when was it Roth they had their own nightclub, Cabo Wabo in Cabo San Lucas?
Oh, that's Sammy's club.
Is it Sammy's club?
Yeah.
I visited that at the end of graduation, and we drove down there, and at the wrong time of year. It was freezing cold, and we went to Cabo Wabo. It was so underwhelming.
Really?
We sort of had to go after being propagandized by MTV all those years. Like this was the greatest place on earth. Very underwhelming. Yeah, just those gelatin shots. It's just bad news.
Yeah.
We were 22. We were 22 years old. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was. Yeah, I remember sleeping in a hammock in San Felipe on the coast with like gangs of wild dogs marauding through the beaches, and all we had was a big styrofoam cooler full of Corona, and then the taco van, and that was it. It was tacos and Corona.
Wild dogs, tacos, Corona, Cabo Wabo. What more could you need? This sounds way better than 2025.
Yeah, it's just cold though. It was cold. I can't remember when it was. It was not a good time. It might have been like
off
April.
season, huh?
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. It was off season for sure. What were you thinking? I'm not
We
sure.
didn't think much when we were 21 and 22, frankly.
We were not that clever. Not about such things.
No.
Not about such things. But it was cheap. It was cheap. Sharing the gas. Shared the gas. The rest was just it was good. Federale stopped us twice.
Oh yeah.
There's guys carrying like AK-47s and it was government, dressed in military. So they have the full military gear on. They had the gun. I can't remember if the faces were covered. I don't think they did the face coverings back then because it was pre-internet. So it was okay. And then they're wearing Air Jordans. And it's just, the whole thing just didn't work.
You're looking at your shoes going, am I going to get to keep these?
Yeah, he's asking for whatever it was, $50. I can't remember. $50.
What a gig.
Yeah. And for us, that was a lot of money. $50. $50 in 92 as a student.
Oh yeah, that's buku bucks.
That's it's not small change, but that was the going rate. I think we talked him down to 20 with a bit of broken Spanish, and that was it. Pass go.
Yep.
Until the next one. Sorry, I don't want to bore you guys with those old stories. Hesher was from California, though. He knows about these things.
Oh yeah,
these little forays down south of the border.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. I had a lot of friends that did that often. I was not one of them, but
did you ever drive the Mexicali route? Because that was dodgy.
No.
Did the Mexicali route. I mean, there's literally potholes in the middle of the highway, and there's no lines. Back then anyway. Like there was 5 lanes of traffic and no lines on the road. And if you hit somebody down there, you don't know what's going to happen if the police come, and then you got an argument, and it was like, it's Tecate territory, mate. It was just
no thanks. No, I was so far north in California. Like I even if I intended to go to Mexico, I probably would have like passed out in LA at a death metal concert and like not made it all the way to Mexico. Cause I've, up in like Humboldt County and stuff, it takes me like 8 hours just to get to San Francisco.
Did you surf?
No, I did some boogie boarding, some snowboarding, mountain biking. I did like basically everything but surf in
Because
California.
Rosarito was like a surfing destination on Baja.
Yeah.
So I went to San Luis Obispo. So there are a lot of surfers there.
Nice
It's like,
spot.
yeah, Santa Barbara, San Luis, and then the rest of Southern California, whatever. But they'd always go for that bit warmer water later. Earlier in the year, would go Mexico. That was the attraction, and of course, it was cheap. It was like 30 to 1. Was it 30 to 1? It was something stupid.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. And you could do, if you were under, 21, you could do all the things you were hoping to be able to do as soon as you cross that border. So yeah, it was pretty popular. All the surfers I hung out with were in Humboldt County though, and they had to wear like 4mm wetsuits pretty much year round, but they had awesome breaks up there.
See, people are suspecting that Ruckus has gone into AI mode. Is this true?
No, it's still me, still with my hair. Somebody commented on my hair. I'll remind you all, it's a mohawk thing. I'm not doing the alfalfa thing, okay?
It goes all the way back, folks.
That's right. Poker face. Ruckus got a poker face, does not blink. That's right.
This is true. Sometimes I do have my moments where I can just go without blinking. It's wild.
I remember when we first started working at TNT, or when the cameras first came into the TNT aspect, and I had to have 6 lights in my face. The first like 2 weeks I was on, I felt like I was just so self-conscious about my blinking because the lights were just like, I felt like assaulted by all the studio lights in here, and it was just like I was blinking uncontrollably. I either still do it and I just don't care anymore, or I don't notice. But
you made me really self-conscious right now. I'm just like watching my blinking. I think you were more self-conscious about being shouted at by some producer person in the background. That's where your fear was coming from.
Well, yeah, it was a high pressure work scenario. That is for sure.
Yeah, calling it the fluoride stare. Here's a question from the audience. They want more information on Ruckus. Where did Ruckus grow up? What part of the country?
Well, that's easy. I never grew up, so there you go. I'm a Toys R Us kid. New Hampshire. I was born and raised in New Hampshire, and then as soon as I turned 18, I got the hell out of there, and I lived in New Mexico until 2 years ago when I moved to Texas.
So the live free or die state.
That's correct.
And you chose not to live free in New Hampshire. You chose not to die, so you went to New Mexico.
Well, yeah, I just
that's the Breaking Bad made New Mexico famous, didn't it? That TV series for all the wrong reasons as well. Yeah. And then Jeffrey Epstein made it famous again for all the wrong reasons.
The Zorro Ranch.
New Mexico's had a really bad rap.
The governor did a fair share of making it famous on the map during COVID and afterwards when she was like, we're just going to make it illegal for you to walk around with your gun, even though New Mexico is an open carry state. Here in Albuquerque, yeah, you're not allowed to own a gun, concealed, unconcealed whatsoever. Screw you, screw your rights, F you. Hello, what? Yeah, that made nationwide news. That was wild.
As you were leaving the state, like we were literally moving you out of the state, and that news broke, and we were like, "Whoa!"
I was like, "Thank God, I got the hell out of there."
What was her name again? She used to be a congressman.
Michelle Lujan Grisham.
That's it. Yeah, I met her during.
She's a lovely, lovely, beautiful lady. Absolutely gorgeous,
sure she
stunning.
Is, yeah,
yes.
I didn't really find her that stunning.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
But yeah, I could see just a career politician. Basically, that's what I saw there. But anyway, that's not unusual in America. It's a career for so many. Oh, here's a question, Patrick. Where did the cool 21 wire neon? It's right next to me, but the thing is, because the wall is so far behind me, it would be very tiny. So I'm trying to get a sort of get up, some sort of stand I can build, or where I can hang it behind me, but it's still like not far, so it's a decent size. So yeah, it's I do have it. Thank you for reminding me.
Good question. I've been wondering that myself.
Yeah, I think I'm going to sort of set that up. It's going to be like sort of on that right there, and it'll be about 3 feet behind me.
You know what you could do? You
Yeah.
could hang it from the ceiling, from a
Ooh.
couple of little eye hooks on fishing lines so that you can't
Mhm.
really see the lines that it's hanging on. It can just float behind you.
Yeah, that's a possibility as well. Yeah, I can do that as well. The problem is like when you're shifting changing the room, uh, you have to I have very high ceilings. And we're talking,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
I'd say 18 feet or 15 to 18 feet. It's pretty massive here. So I got to work that out. But yeah, thank you for the reminder. We have that neon sign, and yeah, we'll get that thing fired up again. Thank you for that. And yeah, that's all. Look, well, that's all we got time for today. He's asking some pretty racy questions here
Yeah,
now.
they are.
How many honeys has Pat dated? Listen, don't want to get into my personal life. Yes, Mohican. That's the correct term for Ruckus, a Mohican, which is a variation on the Mohawk. So a Mohican, made famous by Daniel Day-Lewis, who played a good Indian.
That's right.
Last of the Mohicans. Yep. All right, guys. Look, it's been fun with the comment audience here, the guys in the comment. Thank you for your inputs. Really appreciate it. We like interacting with our audience. I think that's one of the things that is unique about our show is that we do give a lot of time to our audience on this. We really appreciate you guys with the zingers. I mean, we have an amazing audience here. I know you do at the Boiler Room as well. And we really appreciate you guys. You guys make the show, basically. And I speak, and we're not just saying this, Hesher, Ruckus, Basil, we really look forward to Overdrive and interacting with you guys. And we really appreciate the enthusiasm, the color, the sense of humor, the dark sense of humor. I know it's gallows humor, but these are very disturbing and dark times. And so, yeah, and we really appreciate all you guys coming in here. And thank you, Ruckus. Thank you, Hesher, for joining us. Important conversation, first part. But as people know, this is how this program goes. We start off serious, and then we start to unwind. And by the end of the show, we're just all over the place. And that's when the fun happens. And we're glad to share that with you guys. Love to have you for the ride this week on the Sunday Wire. Hesher, Ruckus, final words, anything highlights for this week coming? Go ahead.
I'll jump in and say be sure and check out Fridays on alternatecurrentradio.com. Boiler Room, we're pretty sure we're moving the live show night to Friday evenings. So find us live on Fridays. The most recent episode is up at alternatecurrentradio.com right now. We did this one just the other night, Friday night. We did Foreign Entanglements and Digital Threats, the new front lines. So you can find that video there posted on our page with a link to our Rumble audio podcast posted on the page, description, reference links, and then links to it on YouTube and X. If you have preferences to where you watch it, that's all at the bottom of those posts. And the same thing goes for Sunday Wire and Midweek Wire. We've got all that stuff right here at Alternate Current Radio for you. Here's even today's show. We've got that all hooked up. So it's already up there right now. Look, there we are streaming live on the website, and the podcast will be up after the show. You can support us at that website as well. Thank you for having me, Patrick. It's been an honor and a pleasure. Sorry for the overly colorful metaphors if that hurt anybody's feels, but hey, it is what it is. And I'll look forward to the next Sunday Wire with you guys.
We just say what's on our mind sometimes, and sometimes it's a little bit weird.
Just comes out.
I mean, these are extreme times, so sometimes they call for extreme metaphors. That's a good line, isn't it? Extreme times call for extreme metaphors.
You know, there's a great grindcore album from a band called Brutal Truth, and it's called Extreme Conditions Demand Extreme Responses. It almost fits exactly with what you just coined right there.
Yeah, that's a t-shirt right there. Extreme conditions. What does it say? Extreme conditions
demand extreme responses.
Demand extreme responses. I like that. I like that a lot. Let me make a note. Yes. Extreme conditions demand extreme responses. Okay. I think we should do a meme. and have that as part of our nomenclature for the program.
I think that Brutal Truth would probably be stoked if we did that. And if you like music that runs at about 450 BPM, there's the album cover. Go check it out. It is a absolute grindcore classic.
Oh gosh, grindcore, ladies and gentlemen. See how versatile we are at Alternate Current Radio. Thank you very much, Hesher, host of the Boiler Room, alternatecurrentradio.com. Ruckus, final thoughts, words.
I might have
reflections,
to
and thoughts?
pass on the grindcore, but if you talk about extreme, that's extreme, but not nearly as extreme as our commenters. You guys are all like, "Oh, we love you guys." You're our family, and I do agree for the vast majority of the smart ones. But I've seen some of you commenters out there, and I'm sorry, I would probably not want to meet you in real life. You're a little too extreme for this guy. You could get me arrested just because I know you. But don't you go changing. You do you, and we'll keep doing us. And I'm just kidding. I do love all of you guys. But you are a little extreme, so be careful out there. Don't be too extreme. It's okay to. This is the safe space to be extreme here. Your name goes on a list, but it goes no further. Of course, that list is with the CIA, the NSA, Israel's intelligence. Jeffrey Epstein is still building a list somewhere on an island because he's probably not really dead. But anyways, we'll talk about that another time, I'm sure. Thank you so much for having me. We do bring up a lot of interesting things, and we do just fast fire stuff here. So please don't forget what Bill Cooper taught me, and I hope he teaches you as well. Read everything, listen to everybody, but don't you believe anything unless you, that's right, you prove it for yourself with your own research. Thanks for having me again, Patrick.
I've never ceased to be amazed by the wisdom of our audience. I will share this last nugget with you. Wisdom is a comb which men acquire when they're bald. Wow. See, that's a t-shirt as well.
Yeah.
That's a t-shirt as well. Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Well, look, thank you. Our audience, you guys are amazing. You're the star of you guys are the star of the Overdrive segment. It's unequivocal. I love our audience. And yes, indeed, we're doing our best. Take care, you guys. Thank you, Ruckus. Thank you, Hesher. And a big shout out to everybody. And if you didn't watch the UK column news on Friday, Basil Valentine did a report on Friday on the UK column. It was excellent. Basil is such a talented analyst, and he did a brilliant job on a very difficult subject as well. So our hats off and acknowledgement to Mr. V, Basil Valentine. All the best. Adios, gentlemen. And that's all we got time for this week at the Sunday Wire. And thank you very much again for joining us. We'll be back probably with a midweek wire. There's a few, well, we got definitely the conversation with Arnaud Devolay on left-right politics was fascinating on the midweek wire. If you missed that, do check that out. Some really good insights there. If you're a political junkie or a political scientist, you will like the conversation. We're saying how the left-right paradigm is now disintegrating and why and what it's going to be replaced with. That's the conversation from on Wednesday with Arnaud Devolay. So that's something you guys want to pay attention to for sure. So I direct people to the midweek wire. We'll have a sequel to that coming up in the midweek. Also, we're due for a big interview as well. So I don't know which one we're going to do first, but we have an important interview to do on the program as well as that conversation with Arnaud. So we've got both of those things to contend with. Either way, folks, that means there's going to be some interesting conversations happening at 21st Century Wire daily reports. We have analysis. We have intelligence reports coming out daily at 21st Century Wire. Our content right now is excellent. And to thank for that, one of the big contributors has been Freddie Ponton, who is just his efforts are incredible, and the quality of his work and the topics that we're hitting are all the most important topics of the week. So we are on point with the news cycle. That's daily at 21stcenturywire.com, as well as interviews I'm doing with a lot of the big podcasters, mostly in America. But we're reposting those. There's quite a few of those up on the site already. And yeah, we really appreciate all those other shows who are working alongside for those programs. So those have been great. And that's it, folks. That's all we got time for today. We'll leave you with the incredible music of the talented Joseph Arthur, talented artist who's doing incredibly well right now on the music scene. Follow him on Instagram and wherever you can find him. Joseph's work right now is amazing. His videos, his new songs, his new album series coming out. And he's got a new podcast. And we'll try to get Joseph back on the show one of these Sundays. So we're going to do our best to make that happen. But that's it. I'm your host, Patrick Henningsen. This is episode 570 of the Sunday Wire. All the best. Take care. And also, we'll see you soon. Support 21stcenturywire.com. Again, if you're new to this show, find a way you can support us, either by subscribing, becoming a member, or donating. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can do that over the counter or anonymously if you want. It's up to you. We'll take any amount of donations. We really appreciate that. We want to do more work. We have a good operation, but we're expanding it constantly and upgrading our platforms and so forth, our social media accounts. We manage 6 channels at the moment, and we want to add a couple more. So we need your help, obviously, to do all these things. The Winter Fundraising Drive, which we do annually, that happens from next week. So that's something to look forward to. We'll be promoting that this year a bit more. But again, we need your help and support. We got a lot of big projects. We've rolled out a few this year successfully, but it's nothing compared to what we want to do coming up in 2026. It's going to be a tough year, but we know we can do it with your help. So please consider that if you're able to for the next week and months as well. If you can support us in the Christmas and holiday season, we really appreciate it. A little bit goes a long way. And we'll utilize every penny of it. You can be sure of that. But thank you guys again for joining us. And again, here's the music of Joseph Arthur. Take care, everybody. It's been great. We'll see you next time.
Brothers and sisters,